My name is Charles Oj. I'm director at Farmforte. Well, it's been a very interesting journey so far in Farmforte. I mean, when we look back to 2012 when we started, with a basic concept of saying how can we connect farmers to markets and trying different types of things in food production with our farm in Edo State with sweet potatoes and exporting that to Europe, partnering with farmers and different organizations around sourcing different types of commodities from sorghum to millet to cashew, and then taking it further into processing. Where we've invested in our cashew line, we're looking at rice milling now, all to add value. With Freshforte, this is really the next step of getting ourselves to the very end of the value chain, where we basically put up this flagship retail store to bring in different type of exciting products and services towards consumers. And we're really very excited about this initiative to deliver outstanding experiences to consumers here in Lagos and eventually beyond. So we look forward to having you when we open, and we look forward to receiving you here in the store to try out some of our new exciting products and services. Thank you very much.
I believe that if Africa will play on the global scene, it's going to happen through agriculture. We hope to be able to take the best quality products to the rest of the world and to be able to connect smallholder farmers to supermarkets across the globe. We built a very wonderful template in Nigeria for scaling work with these farmers, and the next phase would see us trying to replicate this template across different African countries. The main goal is to connect local farmers with global consumers. By adding value, jobs are created. We want to see a day where we'll have impacted farmers in literally every country across Africa. We currently have impact on thousands of farmers. We want to get to millions of farmers, and that's what we're driving at.
My name is Charles Oj. I'm director at Farmforte. Well, it's been a very interesting journey so far in Farmforte. I mean, when we look back to 2012 when we started, with a basic concept of saying how can we connect farmers to markets, and trying different types of things in food production with our farm in Edo State, with sweet potatoes, and exporting that to Europe, partnering with farmers and different organizations around sourcing different types of commodities, from sorghum to millet to cashew, and then taking it further into processing, where we've invested in our cashew line. We're looking at rice milling now, all to add value. With Freshforte, this is really the next step of getting ourselves to the very end of the value chain, where we basically put up this flagship retail store to bring in different type of exciting products and services towards consumers. And we're really very excited about this initiative to deliver outstanding experiences to consumers here in Lagos and eventually beyond. So we look forward to having you when we open, and we look forward to receiving you here in the store to try out some of our new exciting products and services. Thank you very much.
I believe that if Africa would play on the global scene, it's going to happen through agriculture. We hope to be able to take the best quality products to the rest of the world and to be able to connect smallholder farmers to supermarkets across the globe. We built a very wonderful template in Nigeria for scaling work with these farmers, and the next phase would see us trying to replicate this template across different African countries. The main goal is to connect local farmers with global consumers. By adding value, jobs are created. We want to see a day where we'll have impacted farmers in literally every country across Africa. We currently have impact on thousands of farmers. We want to get to millions of farmers, and that's what we're driving at.
Good afternoon. It is with pleasure that I welcome you all here today to the virtual finals of our SADC Innovation and Investment Day. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Nikki Kettles, and I'm the Executive Head of Programs for Finmark Trust. For those of you that don't know Finmark Trust, we're a market facilitator. And as I say, we all wake up every day thinking, how can we change the life of one person by supporting financial inclusion or financial and economic inclusivity in the region? Finmark Trust today is delighted to present 3 ventures that have been incubated for 6 months, post the innovation competition, which ran from February 2020 to July 2020. These ventures all partook in a competition and a whole lot of rounds of a competition using problem statements that we derived from solutions that needed to be solved in SADC to support financial inclusion. This journey saw over 80 ventures participating from 7 countries: South Africa, Malawi, Lesotho, Botswana, Mozambique, and Tanzania. I'm sure the question is, why does Finmark Trust do this? Because, you know, we're talking about financial inclusion, but we have a very strong view around what innovation within our region can do to support financial inclusion. We also have a very strong view and a strong commitment to having these solutions as well as to supporting innovators in the region. When you live or you are born or you are from the region, we believe you understand the dynamics, the problems, and what needs to be done. So our vision is, as an organization, to facilitate accelerated economic growth by improving market outcomes that matter to financially excluded vulnerable communities. So why do we do this? We are so invested in this as we believe the future financial services in Africa is data-driven. We also believe the future of financial services is driven by a key and core understanding of what is available in the region. The key objective of the challenge was to support the design of innovative technological solutions that promote the use and access to financial services to support the Financial Inclusion 2.0 agenda initiative across the region. I'm sure you're all going to ask, what is the 2.0 agenda? The 1.0 agenda we defined as just giving people bank accounts. The 2.0 agenda is about people using financial services and products to make them economically active and to advance them. On the screen, we're going to give you a brief introduction to our teams and their solution. You can also visit our dedicated Innovation Challenge website to have a look at all the other teams as well as these 3 teams. Our first solution is Phema Agri. I'm not going to tell you or read exactly what's on the screen, but basically it's a digital agricultural crowdfunding platform. I'm sure we all know that agriculture is incredibly important in our region, but also we know that agriculture is the one area where they really struggle to get capital financing for smallholder farmers. So this solution is perfectly suited to the problem statement of access to finance for agriculture. The second solution is Moneychaps, and it's an online-based peer-to-peer finance platform that links people looking for a loan to those that have money to lend. So basically what it does is it's dealing with the asymmetry of access to finance, specifically for SMMEs. And then the last one is Digital Diamond, which is an online, offline, instant digital identification application. I'm sure you all know this, but you cannot get access to a formal financial service without being appropriately identified. And I'm sure you've all heard that in terms of AML regulation, we cannot allow any anonymous transactions. So this solution actually attends to that. I would like to thank our partners FSD Zambia and FSD Mozambique for the support through this competition, and to the investors that have joined today to explore opportunities to support our emerging entrepreneurs in the region. These are amazing young people that have developed amazing solutions that can help us make an impact in the region. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Namkelekile. This is so amazing to be here this evening, this early afternoon. If you're joining us from Accra, Ghana, welcome. In the afternoon, if you're joining us from Lagos, Nigeria, you are welcome. If you're joining us from Gaborone in Botswana, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're joining us from Johannesburg or Cape Town, South Africa, you are welcome. Wamkelekile. If you are joining us from Tanzania and Dar es Salaam, you are welcome. Jambo, welcome. It's so amazing to be in this final moment. This journey has been 6 months of intensive work by our ventures, who you'll get to meet shortly throughout our session. I want to first thank Nikki for the kind, warm welcome into the session. It's an amazing session that we're looking forward to this evening with you in our audience. If you are joining us on Facebook, if you are joining us on YouTube, or you are joining us on our event app on the Flag platform, please remember you can interact with us. We simply use the hashtag SADC Innovation. Send your comments, send your chats throughout the session as you go through it. We have an amazing 3-hour session ahead of us, and I will explain shortly how it's going to work, but it's very simple. Each of the hours is dedicated to each of the ventures. We have 3 dynamic young ventures that we're looking forward to having. We're going to start off the afternoon with Digital Diamond out in Botswana, and they're focusing on Regtech, AI, and again, we'll have an amazing facilitated thought leadership piece from SAST Zambia to kick us off in the session. We're also going to move from there back to Botswana again with Moneychaps. They'll be doing some, we're talking about financial inclusion, credit, and again, we'll have a fireside chat. I'll be chatting here with Dario from Brighter just now. Looking forward to that conversation, who's facilitated some amazing investment reports in the financial inclusion Fintech space across the continent of Africa. We end off the session with a young dynamic team, female-led team in the agri-tech space, Phema Agri out in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. Again, the agri context with Farmforte and everything that's going to be coming through there. So I hope you can join us for the entire session, the rest of the 3 hours, or you'll be joining each of these based on your preferred interest. But remember to engage us. We want to thank our dynamic teams for having brought things this far. We want to thank the team from FMT and all its support funders, especially the FSD community and network that has supported the work that FMT is doing with us at Hiver. Without much further ado, let's kick off on our first session, which focuses on Regtech, identity, as well as AI.
Very much. It's a privilege to again have this opportunity to join the SADC in the SADC Fintech Challenge. My name is Mrs. Charity Luchembe Chikumbi from the Zambian Financial Sector Deepening, where I'm Director for Policy and Digital Financial Services. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for inviting me to give a keynote speech to address and commemorate the grand finale of the SADC Innovation Challenge. This is not only an honor and a privilege for me, it is also an issue that I am totally passionate about. As an expert in the digital financial services and a member of the Association for Digital Finance Practitioners in Zambia. It is a well-noted factor, ladies and gentlemen, that across Africa, coverage of formal financial services is poor, with low income and rural customers largely excluded. Yet, there is need for affordable financial service information that is well documented. Financial inclusion is very important to us in this part of the world because it increases the resilience to economic shocks and helps grow small and medium-sized enterprises. For us to grow financial inclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we need good information, good sources from where we can derive patterns of what's happening in the markets. Big data, therefore, offers this opportunity to mine existing information about mobile phones and DFS users to help MNOs and DFS providers to deliver products and services to previously excluded customers. Big data offers the opportunity to do this. The growing of mobile network operators and their customers has increased access to information by every service provider. This information has the potential to unlock powerful transformations in both the business and policy worlds. Access to alternative information such as utility bills or mobile phone bills can facilitate the creation of data score for the thin file clients who are individuals for whom there is not sufficient information to build a traditional credit score. There is general consensus that data analytics will change the face of financial inclusion in far-reaching ways. Analysis of big data can improve the operations of the financial service providers to expand access, decrease cost, improve products, and other uses. It can also result in smarter policies by advancing data analytics that can support financial services for the poor in many ways. These include simplifying activation processes to new customers. Also, it can accelerate customer product adoption, improve providers' mobile money service offering, strengthen fraud detection and monitoring systems within countries. Data can also help in establishing identity of individuals. This is especially important in financial inclusion, where the need to comply with Know Your Customer (KYC) in short requirements generates an important barrier for opening accounts and a cost for financial service providers. Innovations that can make it easy for banks to comply with KYC by using public domain data to confirm an individual's identity in the absence of a national identification document can decrease the cost of providing services such as savings. We find that in excluded markets, most people may not have the required identities. Therefore, if we have big data, it helps us to create different tiers of KYC that can enhance providing ratified segmentation for different customers. However, there is a downside to growing access to customer data with such fintechs. As exciting as all this may be, it is important that client protection issues arise with the use of big data, namely around areas of privacy of client information. Where do we draw the line on which information is appropriate for providers to use? We ensure that information remains secure and is only used for the intended and approved purposes. With growing developments in artificial intelligence, therefore, artificial intelligence becomes of great interest to many users. It provides a place where data, digital data, can be analyzed to generate insights and predict behavior using algorithms, as well as insights that can predict a clientele's behavior. Fintech companies, therefore, can use this AI technology and its various applications to ensure that the goal of digital financial inclusion is realized, to ensure that low-income earners, the poor, the women, the youth, small business participants in the mainstream are taken care of in the great financial markets. AI is transforming the consumer financial service market as well as consumer interaction with the financial services ecosystem. This shift has been driven by maturing AI algorithms, growing AI investment, increasing competition, and rapid changes in consumer preferences for digital financial services, which are facilitated by AI. The first broad application of AI by emerging markets in financial service provision is good at supporting analytics and alternative data points and real-time behavior for more effective use, which end up resulting in 1, providing an enabling environment, 2, improving credit decisions, 3, identifying threats to financial institutions and help them meet the compliance obligations, 4, address financing gaps faced by businesses in emerging markets, 5, fraud reduction, 6, collection of credit by credit institutions, 7, improving financial and operational performance of borrowers. Further, AI-based tools have helped developing world-based financial institutions and consumers to comply with various regulatory requirements and religious prescriptions. It is too time-consuming and even impossible for human agents to comprehensively identify and analyze all the relevant data to ensure that each transaction has complied with various obligations. In Africa so far, developments in AI have been predominantly driven by the private sector technology actors. But growing interest by African governments have seen the start of conversation around AI strategies for growth and governance across the country. AI's applications to a defined problem is not typically applied in a neutral way. Navigating the complexities of AI application calls for a type of positive AI and negative AI's governance in their context. Positive AI is the use of such system for broad social problems. Looking at AI developments in Africa, positive AI applications have garnered most of the media coverage. For example, startups in Ghana and Nigeria are addressing doctor shortages and the lack of medical access for rural Africans. They have begun to use AI to empower doctors and leverage growing mobile phone ownership as a vehicle for collecting data, improving administrative efficiency, and to expand treatment coverage. In both Kenya and Nigeria, AI-focused startups have begun working on agricultural planning, reducing financial transaction costs, and improving public transportation access and efficiency. Education has also been a focus for startups like Ensure and Tuteria, which provide access and extensive training and learning platforms to help teachers in classrooms. Governments in AI-rich countries like Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa have taken a supportive but cautious approach. Monetary support for AI research and development alongside the promotion of STEM education have taken priority over AI's integration within government agencies. However, for AI to grow to the rest of Africa to help in financial inclusion-based big data, the 7 big challenges that AI poses must be carefully addressed. The 7 AI challenges that are paramount are: number 1, computing power. This refers to the amount of power that these power-hungry algorithms use as a factor in keeping most developers away. Machine learning and deep learning are the stepping stones of the artificial intelligence, and they demand an ever-increasing number of cores and GPUs to work efficiently. Secondly, we note that trust deficit is a second challenge in achieving AI. One of the most important factors that are a cause of worry for the AI is the unknown nature of how deep learning models predict the output. How a specific set of inputs can devise a solution for different kinds of problems. This is difficult to understand for a layman and poses a challenge. Thirdly, limited knowledge. Although there are many places in the market where we can use artificial intelligence as a better alternative to the traditional systems, the real problem is the knowledge of artificial intelligence itself. Apart from technology enthusiasts, college students and researchers, there are only a limited number of people who are aware of the potential of AI. Fourthly, the human level. This is one of the most important challenges in AI, one that has kept researchers on edge for AI services in companies and startups. These companies might be boasting of a 90% accuracy, but humans can do better in all of these scenarios. For example, let our model predict whether the image is of a dog or a cat. The human can predict more accurately than a machine can. And this is an example almost 99% times. Number 5, data privacy and security. The main factors on which all the deep and machine learning models are based on is the availability of data and resources to train them. Yes, we have data, but as this data is generated from millions of users around the globe or around the country, are chances that this data can be used by bad people for bad purposes. Number 6, the bias problem. The good or bad nature of AI systems rarely depend on the amount of data they are trained on. Hence, the ability to gain good data is the solution to good AI systems in the future. But in reality, the everyday data the organizations collect isn't that good. Sometimes it's poor and holds no significance on its own. Number 7, data scarcity. With major companies such as Google, Facebook, Apple facing challenges regarding unethical use of data generated, various countries such as India are using stringent IT rules to restrict data flow. Thus, these companies now face the problem of using local data for developing applications for the world, and that would result in bias. In conclusion, I've walked you through the challenges ahead of us. These are meant to ensure that we do not discard financial inclusion based on big data by the use of AI challenges. We should, in fact, develop continually and attain a position where we can find better products and better financial services that are accessed by a cross-section of the population, including the low-income and rural population, with the finest of products that speak to their needs and help solve their pain points. If we do this, we will then create good data analytics that provide an enabling environment that result in 1, financial access for excluded populations. Number 2, risk management, increased operational efficiency, and great affordability. Number 3, we will be availed improved product design and marketing. Fourthly, financial inclusion policy and strategy will be better to deal with. The above-mentioned challenges must not deter us, but must challenge us to do even better. Thank you very much, and God bless you as we continue developing together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charity, all the way from Lusaka, Zambia. Ms. Charity Luchembe Chikumbi, the Director of Policy and Digital Financial Services at the FSD Zambia. Thank you for your wonderful support and your team for coming on board. And as Charity has said, if you want to engage and check in and chat to the team at FSD, please do so. Use the chat box on YouTube, on Facebook to engage the questions. Send your questions, make them hashtag SADC innovation or hashtag financial inclusion. We're not going to hold up the program too much because we're running a very tight ship this evening. We're going to move right along, and now that we've unpacked not only the problem set and we've given you a sense of the impact and the numbers in the SADC region around this particular problem and the endemicness, we want to bring to you the one solution in the program that has been working on this. We want to introduce you to Mr. Mthabisi Boketi, who is the founder and CEO of Digital Diamonds, operating out of Gaborone, Zambia, Gaborone, Botswana, and he is going to be introduced by the head of innovation at Fintech Trust, Mr. Dumisani Dube. Over to you, Dumi.
Good afternoon to you all. Thank you for joining us. It's my pleasure to introduce Mthabisi Bokete, the founder and CEO of Digital Natives, which is a software design-oriented, fast-growing digital agency that has a track record of delivering award-winning solution. He is a winner of the SADC Innovation and Investment Challenge under the theme of digital financial identity, with his instant digital KYC tokenized offline and online mobile app solution, Digital Diamond. He is also the youngest sitting board member of our Stanbic Bank in Botswana, which is a part of Standard Bank Group, Africa's largest bank in assets. And he's also the Forbes 30 Under 30 Africa nominee. And among his accolades, awards, he came first in the Botswana investment trade virtual investment battlefield with the revolutionary, robust, and affordable AI and data-centric learning management system. This is the iDesk.Africa, and he also came first in the Huawei Mauritius countrywide most innovative app competition with the crowdsourcing and employment curbing app, and it's called Get It Done. So we welcome Mthabisi. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mthabisi Bokete, the founder and CEO of Digital Diamond. Digital Diamond is a simple, free, instant identification application that works both online and offline. It works by aggregating KYC information that is generally tediously filled in when you're accessing financial institutions or telcos. That means your ID, your cell phone number, your proof of address, your next of kin, etc. All that information gets aggregated into a six-digit alphanumeric number that allows for inclusive, instant, and a rolling KYC. What that means is basically the information never gets stale. As you interact with various institutions, the information automatically updates. So your proof of address, moving from point A to point B, your water utilities, or your cell phone bill always gets updated in the background. So you never have to. All you do is carry around this Digital Diamond ID as you interact with various places, and then you share that with them, and an OTP gets sent back to you to verify, yes, indeed, that you are the user of this product, the owner of that identity, as well as security questions. The great thing about Digital Diamond is once it's accessible across country, you'll be able to travel business, and banking instantly in anywhere in any country to open up your account. Currently, we're actually working to integrate our system with the point-of-sale machines at Stanbic Bank. Stanbic Bank has introduced these digital KYCs that allow us to have the capability of integrating our API into their system. What this will do is actually share all the banking cards that you've linked to your ID, and you'll be able to select that to make a payment instantly. In the future, we're hoping to become the true source of identity. What that means is you'll be able to vote remotely anywhere in the world from wherever you are, smart or not, just to be able to make a fair, free, and instant voting system. We are currently happy that the partners that have believed in us are Stanbic Bank and Litseho Group. Stanbic Bank has allowed us to pilot it with their system as well as Litseho. They're hosting us at their accelerator and providing us storage space. Over and above this, we're lucky enough to get 1,000 users to be able to test run our product. This is post-revenue. The key partners currently and what we're trying to reach out to now is the Immigration Office of the government, telcos, and future investors, mobile money solutions for the instant payment using Digital Diamond, as well as financial institutions, as mentioned. These are the kind of stakeholders that we're trying to expand across. As we go forward, what's next? We're thinking Litseho could allow us to reach out into the various territories, as well as the Stanbic Bank Group, which is also known as Standard Chartered, also known as Standard across Africa. My team is a mix of the graphic designers, software developers, project managers, and data security forensics attorneys. I am a technical director and the founder and CEO. If you want more information about us, you can use these various links as well as cell phone numbers to contact us to a demonstration or to test out the product in your country. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mtabisi. We, again, what a lovely pitch and presentation. Thanks to Dumi for doing a great job of introducing you. We're now gonna actually go into the live Q&A, the first of our live Q&As. We're gonna have the founder of Digital Diamond, all the way from Botswana, this Mtabisi Boketi. Joining Mtabisi are three of Africa's foremost investors and angels. So I want to bring on the call and welcome my wonderful friends, Hannah, Lebo, Mtabisi. So we're going to get to Mtabisi. I think you're surprising Mtabisi, so they're a little bit dirty too early. We have Mtabisi. So welcome, Lebo. Welcome, Abu. Welcome, Mtabisi is all dressed up, ready for the moment. Welcome to Hannah as well. So guys, I'm just a fly on the wall. I hope you're enjoying the session so far. The production team is going to take me off the particular session, and we're going to leave the session over to the investors to engage entrepreneur on both his pitch and generally any kind of advice. The team that's joining us this afternoon, I want to welcome Hannah. Again, Hannah, congratulations, friend. I know I haven't seen you in a while. Who's recently joined the team at Propaco. I want to welcome Lebo from the Catalyst Fund, and I want to welcome from the Jersey Angels, Abu. Welcome everybody, and over to you. We'll leave it over to Hannah to kick off the first question to Mtabisi.
Thank you, and hi everyone. Maybe I will leave the other investors to ask us some questions. I need to check my notes. I had some technical issues, so I was not able to hear all of your presentation. So maybe Abu, if you can start, and then I will follow up.
Sure. Hi, I'm Mtabisi. Good afternoon. My first question just relates to the scalability of the solution, and I just wanted to get a sense of what integrations are required for you to, for example, move into the Angolan market or the South African market.
So when it comes to the scalability, it's always limited by the regulators currently, because the different regulators in the different countries tend to have slightly different requirements. That's just more on the development end, where we can allow, change, and alter what documents and how the documents are shared. So for example, the IDs here in Botswana are not as digital as the ones like in South Africa. So the way the app would work when it's scanning or receiving or extracting that data, and the way it's shared it would differ greatly as in compared to South Africa, where some of their ID numbers themselves are identifiers. Like the ID number is made up of different components that identify whether it's a male, a female, what province, and things like that. So that would take a bit of research instead of rolling it out. But scalability, once that's done, is almost instantaneous. In the sense that once we are compliant with the regulators in whatever country it is, the expansion is seamless. You don't necessarily need to download the application, which is really great. The only people that need to download the application would be the institution that would want to use it. So as a user, as a day-to-day individual, you don't need to. If you want to, you can, and that would allow you to just maybe add, edit, increase your data set yourself. So what it does is it's a rolling type of KYC, which allows people to interact, engage with various institutions, and then your information appends. So like I go to F&B today and I register, I get all my information done. Then I go to an insurance company. The information that I provide there will be different. So now all that information and data is just stored centrally on this 6-digit alphanumeric PIN. So it's almost like a barcode for a human. But yeah.
Fantastic. So let's assume everything goes well, the regulation in South Africa pretty clear. So what would be your customers' acquisition strategy? Who are the main players that you are targeting?
Okay, so currently what we do is the way we're rolling it out here in Botswana is micro lenders and financial institutions are the first ones to like test out the product. They let us pilot it out so we can iron out any bugs. And then from there, we allow users and customers who come into these institutions who would like to access certain services to basically be onboarded through that. So one, it's like a trusted body, an entity. They know they trust this institution. So now whatever happens there, they know their data is secure because even our data is currently being stored on the Stanbic Bank's service. So we already know that in terms of data security, it's like really tight. And then when it comes to like acquisition in terms of student people, the largest acquisition seems to be in the older majority, like people who are not as young as us, like people who don't like writing out forms, filling out papers, they get annoyed by that. So they prefer to just maybe like almost sign in with Google when they're accessing information. So you just share, hey, this is what it is, my DDID. They get an OTP on their non-smartphone, and then when that OTP is shared, they provide it to the institution and they be access that limited set of information. And I hope that was that answered the question.
Yeah. Yes. Are there any other industries to whom you think your technology is applicable outside the financial industry?
Oh yes, definitely. In fact, any application, preferably startups, actually around like Ubers, your Lyfts, or just crowd sharing applications to start with. Those would be the most. That would be the next step or the next place, because they have an issue with trying to identify who's using their application accurately, because you're not putting your ID when you're registering, like unless you go to a physical Uber spot, and then that whole process takes some time. So now here, with this being a registered API, for example, Uber could easily just link to it. The users will get notified before any third party or institution gets access. So it notifies you before someone wants to access your information, and it will tell you what data will be shared. In a list form. It would just be like name, ID, like it's very simple text. Like it's very, very rudimentary in terms of what we share to the user.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. Congratulations on getting this far. Great pitch. So my question is related to money. How do you make money? I'd love to understand how you make money. Do you charge a license fee? Do you charge a transaction fee? And then as data is also changed or information is changed, what does your cost model look like, or do you make money on that?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so currently, locally, we're lucky because we're building out the APIs for data changes. I'm just going to address that last part for data changes. So when we're linking it to like a water utilities or a phone bill, what happens is they issue out bills, and we would remotely be able to access. I hope you guys can hear me still. Okay, we'll be able to access and pull that information almost free of charge. Like it's a very low cost with the Firebase API package that we're using. It's like very, very low margins for that. So when data is changed or updated, it's very, very, very little. It's like 0.5 cents or like 0.05 cents. It's quite negligible. And then in terms of the business model, we are looking at three options, but currently we're on the API route. Like as we're starting, we're just doing the API route where people get access to it and they make a call. Country has reduced a lot of banking fees because I believe banks spend upwards of 10 million a year just on like compliance, fines, research, reduction, activations, campaigns, like auxiliary things. And whereas we'll be charging almost like 5 Rand per call per user. So the nice thing is that because we are the centralized base of the data, that same user could access multiple institutions. So that's like 5 times the number of users times the number of months in the year. And then like it scales up pretty significantly. And then the second option of data aggregation is we helping institutions, financial institutions, or even just any institution streamline and clean up their data. So when the data is collected, it's either raw and sometimes it can be a little bit unpredictable. Inputs we find a lot sometimes when the ID number, someone makes a mistake there. There's names misspelled, they type, it's just like those little errors. So now we've been training this AI to be able to cross-reference and cross-check those variations. Like, okay, we're noticing people in a specific geographic location tend to have names like this, and this. So there might be a potential that this name is misspelled incorrectly. So it's just not that to say that this person's name is spelled incorrectly, but it can flag easily. And you guys as humans now will be able to interact. And then when you do that, you'll be helping train the AI to be more accurate and understand, okay, these are exceptions, these aren't exceptions. What do you guys think? It just reduces that whole tedious manual processing of data collection and stuff.
And then my next question is linked to data and to your last comment. How do you ensure the integrity of your data? I know in part of your pitch, you said, you know, that one of the values of your product is that when you move between countries and when you change details or customer details, it then changes automatically, right, on Digital Diamond. But how do you ensure the integrity of that data, that when I change addresses, that data is actually correct and accurate?
Okay, so currently, in terms of like address changes, that's a little bit more simpler because the API is linked to like your water utilities itself. So when you want to get access to water, then you will change there and then it will feed, it just feeds on. So once you change that, it's just changed like trained. And then in terms of like the integrity, there are 2 states on the app. There's a verified user and an unverified user. The unverified user is basically post call to the APIs, meaning it hasn't done its checks yet, or it's in the process of doing the checks, but it cannot find any information. So usually waits a period of time to reach out to the Umang office. Here in the Umang office is our ID, our register, like your Umang, your ID thingy. It registers you and it just confirms, okay, this user is indeed this person who they say they are. So that component of who they are is correct. Now their physical address, specifically in the villages, we are working on using the telcos, the poles, to basically geo-point a person and then create a fictitious physical address, like a generic, because sometimes in the village you don't have an address, like you're there and it's like, so we just say this is the coordinates, but then represented as like a keyword based on the village name, and then we append a unique number to that, a village name, append a unique number to that, basically.
Cool. I'll give the other judges a chance.
Thabisa, I've got one more question. So just in terms of something you mentioned earlier, the data, your data is stored at Stanbic. And so let's assume that everything goes well. You want to start integrating into FNB and a few other banks. How do you think other banks, what level of comfort would they have in their customers' details being stored with Stanbic?
So currently, because it was on the piloting stage, we wanted to have the most secure setup, but we personally just want to own our own like servers and things like that. It's just, that is quite an expensive endeavor. So we were just like, this is the quickest and safest way to do it for scaling and testing purposes. And then from then, when we do have like a good return on investment or initial investment, we would be purchasing a server. That's definitely on the top of the list of things we'll do, because in some countries, they don't allow to store our data on the cloud. Botswana is sort of changing into allowing that to happen, but it still prefers you to store it physically in an area, which I struggle to really grasp, but you know, it's what it is. Yeah.
Do we have time for another? Do we have time for another question or last question or?
Yes, we do.
Yes. Okay. So,
yes on the chat.
So what would you need to take your venture to the next level, especially in terms of money and capital?
Okay. So currently the server costs, the one that we're looking at, it's about it's almost like a pentaflop. It's like 1,000 terabytes. I'm hoping so because it's going to be storing variations of data that keep growing aggressively. So that we're looking at about 20 to 100,000 US dollars for the server and the team around it. So that includes the technician, the people who are doing the checks, the maintenance, the support of that whole institution. That's why we were so scared of going with a server, and we hosted it with a person that has already invested so much in their security as well. So that would be the largest investment, our initial investment would go around that.
And how much would the team cost from approximately? Is it 50K, 100K?
It's covered in that. The team,
Okay, great.
So about
very clear. Can you talk a little bit about the competition that you face either in Botswana or that you would face in South Africa? Are they similar, IT company doing that?
Yes, so there are some similar IT companies or Regtech solutions that exist. Their method or the model that they've adopted is physical capturing of data. So they'll take a picture of the ID, take a picture of the water utility bill, of your telephone bill, and then upload that, then share that with the institution as a means of basically being an interface for a manual process, which still, to me, it's the same thing. You're now printing out those same documents and then confirming. Whereas with us, because we're linked by API, it's just confirming if this person does tick all those things. It's almost like having access directly to water utilities or your telephone bill or your Umwang office, for example, instantaneously without necessarily printing out those documents, getting a certified copy, coming to a physical location, showing it to them or scanning it and then sending it via email. And other solutions currently adopt a different approach where they are looking more on the processes behind. So mine is on the registration of the KYC. Others would look for example, anti-money laundering, tracking transactions. They'll be tracking transactions and not necessarily onboarding the users. It's just to see what transactions are going out from this person and how suspicious are they. So that's another KYC AML solution that exists.
Very clear. Do you know if there are any similar companies in Europe or in the US or in Asia or Latin America, like on other continents? Have you been inspired by another company?
Unfortunately, no, I haven't been inspired because the approach that we've taken in terms of like tokenized ID, but that is rolling, is a bit of a unique take. But in terms of it being tokenized, I believe that the tokenized data in general, like try to tokenize any kind of information and then allow you to scan it. And a version of tokenized information is actually a QR code. A QR code is tokenized, but in a pictograph. But now we'll be tokenizing it in digits, something that can be inputted yourself without having to have a smartphone or a phone with a camera to scan or access. So you could almost imagine this as a QR code, but text, if that makes sense. Yeah.
It does. And maybe last question for me. What about the team? Can you talk a little bit more about the profile, how you got together? And do you have any other hires in mind? And how is it in Botswana? Very often people complain about the lack of quality of us, I guess. So is this something that you're experiencing in your startup?
Yeah. So that is an excellent question, Hannah, honestly, because it is hard to find really driven, focused, or some people who love your project as much as you do. You can have a lot of inspiration, a lot of drive and vision, but then the team that surrounds you, it's very difficult to find. But I was blessed and lucky enough, thank God, to find people who have similar traits, similar like-mindedness, and similar outlooks on life in terms of how they want to advance their institution. It's good that we managed to have a lot of ecosystems, micro ecosystems that allow you to meet up with like-minded individuals, and then you ask them, hey, would you like to work on our project with us? then they become an employee, then you start working together and you start scaling like that. So majority of my, for example, like my data forensic attorney, she's like one of the leading ones, and she's very, very young, but she's one of the leading ones in Botswana who are actually helping us to like make sure that we're in line with the policies, adoption. So it was one of those, it's that kind of thing. But in terms of like specifically around data security specialists who are maybe the developers in that space, that talent is very difficult to find. That one we're still looking around that. Like for example, certified high-level, high-grade penetration testers, people who can like aggregate our system. We do have companies here that do that, but I don't know if it would be multinational, like an Israel level kind of penetration testing kind of situations. So
I'm happy to put you in touch. I'm happy to put you in touch with a company in Ivory Coast led by a female entrepreneur who might be able to assist you. So it would be cool if it's a right fit.
Excellent.
Just in terms of quick feedback as an investor, it's great when you present, you have a very strong, good energy, positive, always smiling. So it's definitely something that has a very good impact on investors.
Thank you. I'm now shy.
This is a comment rather than a question or recommendation. In your conversations with Stanbic, perhaps are you having conversations about, the other markets? And if not, you should do that, right? Of how can you do pilots in other markets so that you can start engaging in terms of the regulatory challenges, right? And the regulatory dynamics in other countries and how we integrate with the regulations in other countries. So get, because Standard Bank is a Pan-African bank, right? Maybe that an entry strategy is through Standard Bank. And, you could do a pilot in Zambia with, do a pilot in, the Lesotho, in the other smaller countries, even before South Africa, right? And that will influence your market access strategy. So start having those conversations with Standard Bank. And then also you could engage them to get you a regulatory coach, from them. So, maybe somebody from the compliance team or regulations team or government team to be almost like a regulatory coach for you of how to access these other markets because you're working with them.
Yeah. No, excellent. That's a brilliant expansion strategy as well. Like I'm definitely going to take that into consideration, honestly. Oh no, Weez here. Don't stop the conversation.
Well done, WC. So proud of you, brother. Well done. Congratulations. You're doing your thing. Thank you to our panelists. I'm the bearer of bad news. It's when I come on, it's the end of the session, it's the end of the vibe. But I hope you'll see enough in talent to continue the conversation. So I want to encourage my friends to reach out to Mtabisi. We do have some audience questions, but I think they're more related to what I have to say. So quickly we can bring up the audience questions, but I think it's more for me to respond to help everybody. In fact, to also have Beirut and also the investors on who are tuning into the session. By the way, thanks to everybody who's come on. So Beirut and everybody who's listening on YouTube and Facebook to us, you can actually access these projects. If you go to our website, SADCinnovation.org, you will be able to download all of the venture deal book for this program, where you can have even access to Mtabisi's contact details, and you can read more about the work that he's doing over at Digital Diamond. With that said, well done, Mtabisi. Abu, before I take over, do you want to have a quick comment from Mtabisi just before you go? I have literally 1 more minute. Do I have a minute, Turkey? Cool, Mtabisi, you've done well, my brother. Well done. Congratulations for coming this far in the program. I know, we've had an amazing time with you throughout this process. And again, long may the success and the lessons that have been taken out of the program continue to empower you and we're still going to be here for a while to work with you, to bring you more closer in touch in terms of everything that's going on. So well done. Congratulations. And looking forward to seeing your success and looking forward to seeing where Digital Diamond goes to from here. Any last comments for you before we change over?
For me, I'm really grateful and happy that everybody came through today. I'm so thankful for the great judges and the questions. It gave me a lot to think about, as well as how I can expand. The comment at the end by Lebu was very, very useful. I'll be utilizing that strategy, definitely. Yeah, but thank you guys for actually taking the time to guys.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you again to Hannah, to Lebo, to Abu. Abu is going to continue to join us, but thank you to the wonderful ladies, Hannah from Proparco, Lebo from Catalyst Fund, and Abu from Josie Angels. Thanks to our panel of judges. That was Regtech. That was digital identity. That was where we are with this. So again, the show must continue. We're going to flip the script. We're going to move into financial inclusion. We're going to do, many amazing other things in this process. We see your comments. We appreciate your feedback. Continue to give it. Welcome to anybody who's just joined the session. It's never too late. You just missed the one around hashtag financial inclusion related to Regtech and digital identity with Mtabisi Poketi, the founder of Digital Diamonds. We're going to keep the train moving. At the top of the hour, we're going to be joined by the founder of Brighter, Mr. Dario Giuliani, all the way from London. We're going to have a quick fireside chat with Dario. He's just joined us here in studio. He'll be live and on with us. And again, we're moving the conversation. We're going to stay in Botswana, in Gaborone, but this time we're talking to Moneychaps and the founder there, Thabiso, and we're going to find out about how he's innovating and providing an innovative solution to financial inclusion that enables communities in Botswana to be able to interact and access credit. So look out for that. And as we move forward, please continue to hashtag SADC Innovation on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, and again, on our event app over at the Flock platform. So with that said, let's change the script and over to the financial inclusion context. All right, we've come to another hour and we've come to another moment. Thanks to our team for the amazing effort that they've put in into kind of studying some of these depths of problems. So again, we are a very smart company. However, has got some incredibly talented people, but I must give credit where credit is due. The whole idea behind presenting the problem statement and actually focusing on the shared context of how the problem statement of what a lot of these ventures are working on was actually the idea of Derek Kotzer from AWS. So shout out to Derek at AWS for bringing this to our attention. we're so happy that you gave us that feedback, because we now have these amazing introductory videos that give a context of the depth of the problem that some of these ventures are working. Now, as we move into financial inclusion, I'm excited to bring into the call and into the session with us the founder of Brighter Bridges, a young man that I met many years ago, Dario Giuliani. Dario is joining us right now live all the way from London. I think you might be on mute, Dario, so you might need to unmute yourself on your end. Welcome, brother.
Hey, Vu.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. So just a little bit about me. I'm calling from London. I run a company called Brighter. For those who don't know, Brighter or me, I guess we've established a brand around mapping the ecosystem across Africa and also other what we call underserved markets. The reason why I'm here is to discuss some of the findings of our research. We produce quite a bit of freely available research, and financial technology happens to be, one of the hot topics. So, Vu, anywhere you want to start from, I'm happy to. Or I can actually go on and so in terms of the way I like to start and the way we actually try to produce our research is kind of in a funnel, and the way we usually operate is by looking at the macro trends that are happening in the industry and then narrow down to very specific areas. So for instance, we're looking as to the reason why financial technology remains and is emerging as the leading industry on, I guess, globally. And it's not just a trend in Africa, but it's very much a trend that is being highlighted globally. Fintech happens to be effectively a function for the success of many other industries. So most of the organizations across the planet that are digitizing right now need some degree of transaction and ability to really allow customers and suppliers to transact. And the way of digitization is effectively what is allowed to switch from analog and non-digital type of transaction and physical, which needs physical presence, to a whole new wave of non-physical interaction when it comes to financial engagement. So we are seeing, especially in a continent where like cash remains king, and where the majority of the population remains unbanked, the rise of distributed or centralized, so long as they are digital solution, is something that has really started to innovate several industries across the board, from agriculture. So we're seeing anything from credit to crowdfunding in farming, all the way to e-commerce, especially through during COVID and healthcare, and then also because of, I guess, the poverty levels across the continent and the availability of credit, there's a lot of room for disruption when it comes to finance. At Brighter, we love building taxonomies, and one of the aspects that we've looked at is how to effectively break down financial technology into specific clusters. We've identified 5 to 6 clusters, and I'll go through them in a minute. Here, what I posted in the share screen is actually what we call the industry hive. We've built a number of industry hive per sector, and this gives you an idea of how we've distributed we categorized the different product and services based on the user demographic, based on the technology, and based off the way they function. So first, also based on the amount of capital that's been deployed in the sector, we've seen the payment infrastructure being, I guess, the hottest topic in the space. And by payment infrastructure, we're looking at companies such as Paystack, such as Flutterwave, who have been attracting quite a bit of capital, especially from international investors on the continent. But the payment infrastructure doesn't is not limited to payment gateways and e-commerce, but we're also looking at solutions like the buy now, pay later products. Companies like Carbon in Nigeria, Shari in Shari in Egypt, also looking at Tabi in the Middle East. We're expanding progressively to Sub-Saharan Africa, offering this buy now, pay later opportunities that allow credit to the customers and allow people to actually obtain their goods and services without having to be burdened by the cost of the transaction in case they cannot spend the money straight away. And then finally, in South Africa, for instance, one of the hottest companies on the continent in the country has been Yoko, and companies that are offering point of sales. And so what we call payment gateway and payment sort of B2B type of company is also we can also call it merchant services, depending on really like how you like to label it. But the idea is to really focus on the B2B side, so the merchant and the technology that is aimed at facilitating business and transaction across businesses. So the second cluster is what we define personal finance, which includes wallets, which includes digital banking, which includes anything, anything that is that contributes to the money management of individuals. So switching from business to business and business to consumer, all the way to peer-to-peer, to individual wallets where people can save or can reinvest their savings. And we're seeing quite a bit of companies coming up with this type of products. I guess one of the mention is, especially in light of what is happening worldwide with the rise of neobanks, is the fact that also in Africa we're seeing the emergence of some of these products, anywhere from Kuda Bank to Eversend, and wallets that are focusing on saving and investment, anywhere from Rise, Vest, all the way to Piggy Bank, Carrywise in Nigeria. We're seeing the growth of this personal finance application. Third cluster is involves all the companies that are actually producing real-time data and insight for better credit. One of the problems on the continent has been the significant lack of consumer data and household level data. And so these, on top of affecting a number of digital identity related issues, is also a big problem when it comes to deploying capital for banks, right? Or accessing capital from institutional or more traditional types of players, which still remain predominant across the continent. Because not only, here we're very much, especially in the startup world, we're very much attracted and sort of surrounded by the VC space and the donor space, but the traditional financial player across the continent remain very predominant actors when it comes to the access to credit and the facilitation of business all across the continent. Easy switch from this third this third cluster all the way to banking and infrastructure. Over the past few months, I think over the last 6 months, we've seen 3 or 4 growth rounds for companies all across the continent, from PingMe to Stitch that's just been announced, to Mono in Nigeria. What we're seeing is that there are companies that are focusing not on the business side, not on the personal finance side, but on actually creating API and interoperability infrastructure for banks, which enables a whole new generation of types of services by reducing the transaction costs when it comes to infrastructure and integration for banks, and really just like the customer experience, right? Finally, the last 2 clusters that I would we've identified as being the lending scene. So a lot of companies over the past few years, less in 2020 and 2021, but over the course of 2018 and 2019, we've seen global companies such as Branch and such as Tala raising hundreds of millions of dollars in order to build their lending business. And so we're seeing that business as one in terms of like private and non-institutional and decentralized lending remaining one of the still trending, even though they're not like the hottest in the game right now based on the last 12 months of funding. But we're seeing a lot of attention and a lot of interest in the decentralization of lending facilities. This also includes peer-to-peer lending, and also includes companies that are developing working capital products that allows startups and small and medium businesses to access the needed capital to run their operation. And finally, a bit controversial perhaps, but we're seeing, this is not the standard I'm taking, but for the sake of intellectual honesty, it needs to be brought there, and also because of the role that it's playing right now in the industry, cryptos and crypto exchanges are becoming hugely important and hugely discussed on the continent. I can see that some of the people, the speakers today, have been also involved in the crypto space to in one way or the other, and cryptos are becoming a huge player in this space, and so we added it as a new cluster that is kind of coming up fast in the financial technology scene in Africa. When it comes to, I guess, trends in in the region, especially because of the focus of this conversation, we're seeing South Africa has always had, at least in the last few decades, a pretty advanced financial ecosystem, especially when it comes to banking. But we're seeing some of the new companies, such as Time Bank, which is Time Bank used to be a bank that's then been acquired by an Australian player, and then has been developing a digital banking system. But also other companies such as Yoko and Jumo and Luno, speaking of cryptos, that have been developing brands that are now scaling across the continent and also internationally. I can actually see in London, when I walk around, there's a Luno banners on buses, and it's really made me think about how many companies across starting from Southern Africa are starting to scale and starting to keep an eye on the international scene and the intercontinental scene. This also includes companies that are not necessarily in the fintech space, such as Aerobotics, such as Skynamo, and a number of other companies that are working in software, working in artificial intelligence, that are actually trying to look at the outside market and not necessarily Africa for expansion. Finally, just a bit of maybe forecast based on our funding and based on our ongoing research. As I said, the banking infrastructure, we're seeing it becoming more and more important in the ecosystem across Africa, especially because it's really disrupting the non-traditional but a much more rigid infrastructure that is happening in banking. We're seeing an acceleration of payment digitization, also because of COVID, but also because of the rise of e-commerce all across the continent. And finally, perhaps as a function of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, cross-border payment companies, both in the B2B space and the C2C space, will become and will take the front seat in the financial technology ecosystem in Africa. I think that's pretty much it.
Thank you so much, Terry. I mean, so insightful. I mean, this is why we know this. And again, you do have an audience question from Dan, asking about where he can find access to some of this information. You're welcome to join Dario and his team and check out their work. It's brighterbridges.com. Go and check it out. They're doing some amazing work out not only in London, by the way, in Nairobi, Kenya. And again, that question will pop up now. So thanks for tuning in, Dan, and thanks for your question. But one of the things we want to kind of think about, and again, before I let you go, Dario, I wanted to kind of ask you two questions specifically pertaining to your work. First of all, you just launched, or you announced the launch of your new platform. You want to quickly tell us about that?
Sure. I think you're referring to the Nigerian open source platform. So just very quickly, Brighter has been digitizing its entire database and its entire insight body into what we call the Brighter Intelligence, which is coming to 9 months of existence right now. We started collaborating with quite a lot of players, public and private, building software that is built on the infrastructure of our intelligence platform. And so we've just launched a collaboration with the UK Nigeria Tech Hub in order to create an open source centralized system for data in Nigeria, which sources directly from our intelligence platform, the Brighter Intelligence, and is now fully with a new brand, and it's fully under the umbrella of this techecosystemmap.com, which we actually, domain should be going up tonight. And we'll be, amazing. With this, we'll be running an open source a freely accessible centralized system for data in Nigeria.
So that's amazing, and I hope that particular impact is going to draw and make its way all the way to the south here in the SADC region. I know ourselves at Hyba and FMT have got some plans, and you are in our plans. I can't say much on this call at this stage, but we definitely got you in our radar. But again, we still have time for just one more from my side in terms of what I know you're not much of a gambling man, so I'm not going to ask you to gamble. And you are a hard-working founder. And I know, believe it or not, to the tech ventures and startup founders tuning in, Dario himself is on an active process of fundraising for growing and building Brighter. But I wanted to ask one question related to if you had the money to invest in 2021 in the fintech kind of ecosystem, where would Dario, with all the insights you have and all the perspectives you have, okay? And again, please, let me just say this. For anyone who's given information to Dario about your venture in terms of fintech space, you know, there's no conflict. I'm just asking this question as just as a question. But where would you say 2021 symbolically in financial inclusion fintech is going to go?
In fintech specifically.
Yeah, specific in fintech. Which vertical? Which side? What's showing good positive movement?
Yeah, so I think there has been a significant push from a number of leading players, such as I'd say the MNO, you know, the mobile network operator, the banks, and the financial institutions, but also some large donors, such as, you know, the Gates Foundation, into lowering the transaction cost for infrastructure and making, you know, life smoother for consumers. So I'd say, as I said before, interoperability and the infrastructure for banking is really becoming something that is that will see a lot of investment. And finally, maybe not necessarily in fintech, but related to fintech, is what we call, you know, electronic medical records and all the data industry that is feeding then the, you know, the credit scores and the banks and the bank records. This will see a lot of push, especially because there's a need for more consumer data in order to create financial vehicles.
That's amazing. We did at some point in our program have a company called Life Plus that was working specifically in this challenge. But you know, things being what they are in startup ecosystems, they had to move forward and not continue the program. But we wish Life Plus out in Dar es Salaam. We're thinking about you, William, and your team. And again, there you have it. The man just gave you the advice. You are on the money, on the button with the disruptions that you guys are working. Dario,
we're
we want to thank you
about them
for having come through. Oh wow! So we'll make sure we look out for it, and again, we'll look out for what comes with it up next. So I mean, look, the insights are incredible. I'm sure this particular video we've viewed plenty of times, and we're so grateful that you took the time to be on our platform today. Remember, if you want to find out more, so thanks for the questions to everybody who's watching now. Go to brighterbridges.com, find the information, sign up for the newsletter. Join the community that the team at Brighter is using. And I know, I mean, this man yesterday when I was chatting to him, is like, Vu, I'm on CNN, Vu, I'm on this, Vu, I'm on that. I'm doing 5 interviews a day. So it's in high demand. We're only too appreciative of the effort at the time and again, for the education and insight and the thoughts that you've shared with us this evening. And as we close, I want to get Dirkie to put across one of our favorite videos of yours as we say goodbye to you. That again, we know this is an amazing video. It tracks the investment scale across the continent of Africa. And again, it's something that I guess we wanna lead in to Tabiso's session with Moneychaps coming up. So the team will play that. So thank you so much, Dario. And again, I look forward to continue to work with you as we move forward in the future. So
thanks everyone. Thanks for
we are in this session, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Claire. We are in this session, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of the context of financial inclusion. Again, naturally, we've now laid out the problem sets at the beginning. We've now heard from the expert who's told us around the trends and the latest of everything that's going on. Naturally, we have a solution. So if you don't know, you are joining us here, hashtag financial inclusion, hashtag SADC innovation. You are joining us this evening because we are working with a bunch of companies. This time, we're remaining in Botswana. If you're joining us, we're going to be introducing you to Moneychaps. Again, you're going to hear all about the pitch. I don't want to take Thabiso Standa away. The founder and CEO of Moneychaps is Thabiso Madaga. And again, Thabiso and his team are working very tremendously to bring a solution for more increased digital financial services to more people, okay? To more people. And introducing Thabiso is Hyper's very own Abiola Dixon Okoye, the program coordinator for this particular initiative, and also a business manager at our team at Hyper Group. Over to you, Abby.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm proud and delighted to introduce Thabiso Mabaka of Moneychaps, an accountant by profession who is passionate about technology, promoting financial responsibility and providing affordable and fair financial instruments for the good of all. He was inspired by the current informal women-led group savings in Botswana, which planted a seed and gave way to his solution and brand, Moneychaps, an online peer-to-peer financial platform that empowers people to achieve financial freedom and growth by providing affordable credit services and increasing returns on investment for lenders. With this, it's a pleasure to introduce Thabiso Mabaka. Over to you, Thabiso.
Good day, my name is Thabiso Mabaka, the CEO and founder of Moneychaps, an online peer-to-peer finance platform based in Botswana. Our platform directly links people looking for a loan with those that have money to lend, so it reduces the role of an intermediary in the provision of credit. This in turn reduces the cost of credit and increases return on investment for end consumers. For us, it's very simple. Microlenders are charging high interest rates for payday loans and people are looking for alternatives offering cheaper credit. The good news is that we are bringing that alternative to the market. We'll provide cheaper payday loans for salaried employees with regular monthly income. Our lending process will be streamlined to keep our operating costs low so that we also keep our lending rate low. Our business model for providing loans is B2B2C. We'll be providing companies with payday loan schemes for their employees so that we deduct from source and give them a favorable borrowing rate in return. Only individuals whose employers have registered with us will have access to our loans. There is still more. We'll also allow people to invest in loans in our platform and earn interest so that we maintain high liquidity to finance more loans. Our source of revenue will be the difference between interest charged to borrowers and the rate paid to lenders. We'll be getting at least 50% from the interest realized on all payday loans in our platform. At the moment, there are 146,000 people that borrow from microlenders in Botswana, and we are targeting 71% of this market, which is located in urban areas. All our services will be offered remotely through online platform so that we are able to reach as many people as we can. As part of our go-to-market strategy, we will first teach people how our platform works, and in June 2021, we plan to start a closed peer-to-peer lending group for testing purposes. Employer registration will commence October 2021 so that we start advancing payday loans in January 2022. We have a well-diversified and multicultural team with people from different backgrounds. I'm a chartered management accountant and a qualified debt counselor. As a non-technical founder, I'm complemented by a developer and a computer scientist with experience in India and China. We have also assembled a team of advisors with experience in digital finance and investment management to guide us as we build our solution. Our operational break-even point and profitability will come in month 13. From there on, we are looking to build on it and increase our profit margins. As a new market entrant, we are adopting a cost leadership strategy with a lending rate that is twice less than the industry average in the micro-lending space. We also give people an opportunity to invest differently and diversify from common traditional investments. In 2020, we managed to raise pre-seed investment of $6,000 by winning Finmark Trust SADC Innovation Challenge. We also got the opportunity to engage with customers and get more insight about their needs. We have also managed to get a trading license that will allow us to start operating before getting a financial service license. We now seek to raise more pre-seed investment of $50,000. We will use half of it to develop the peer-to-peer lending platform backend. We also need an extra cash flow to maintain liquidity on the platform so that loans can be processed efficiently. A significant amount will be spent on customer acquisition, especially on the borrower side. Remaining funds will cover compliance fees and hiring a qualified loan and investment officer. This brings us to the end of our presentation. Please feel free to forward us any inquiries about our solutions to info@emotelo.com. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much, Thabiso. That's Thabiso Mabaka from Gaborone in Botswana, representing Moneychaps. Joining Thabiso on this live Q&A are three of, foremost angel investors and investors in the SADC region. So welcome, Thabiso. Along with Thabiso, we welcome Pokwane from Alicia IDF Capital. We welcome Oni from Intelligent Impact and Dazzle Angels. And lastly, we welcome Abu from Josie Angels again. Welcome, guys. So I wanna really receive all of you and allow you the space. And this time I'm gonna hand it over to Oni, maybe for the first question, and then Thabiso, it's your moment. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much, Thabiso. It's an interesting proposition, and I think. Sorry, I'm getting a little feedback. There we go. I have seen it tried a few times before, so I'm just would like to hear two things from you, if possible. One, you've set affordable rates. So can you tell us about how you're going to cap the lending rates? And two, this is a tough one. Can you tell me about other peer-to-peer platforms that you've looked at that maybe haven't worked, that you've learned from? Because obviously peer-to-peer lending in Africa is not new. And we have a graveyard of well-intentioned fintechs that hopefully you've taken some lessons from. Oh, you're on mute, Thabiso.
Yes, the first question, I didn't get the first question.
So the first question was, tell me about the rates. So you've said affordable. So how are you going to cap the lending, the interest rates that you're going to charge? What are those going to look like?
Okay, so basically the way in which we'll cap the lending rates is through our process. So as an online peer-to-peer finance platform, we are looking to streamline our process of advancing credit and then minimizing the role of an intermediary in the provision of credit, not having too many overheads, too many operating costs that will make us charge high interest rates. So just by being a streamlined process, a streamlined financial intermediary, we are looking to cap the lending rates so that they are at least twice less the average that's there in the microlending space, because most microlenders are charging about 20% per month, and that's quite high. So we are trying to take that to as low as from 6 to 8%.
So 6 to 8% per month. So you're looking at potentially like 70 to 80% per year.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. But if you look at the market now, it's quite low when you look at the average there, because some are even going as far as 30% while they still have people's assets.
Okay. So tell me about how you've learned from some of the other peer-to-peer platforms that have existed on the continent.
Okay. In terms of the continent, I've not really, I don't know much about the peer-to-peer lending sites in the continent. But in China, for example, I think they failed because they failed to manage the risk. And us, as we are partnering with employers, we are making sure that we are reducing the risk for defaults, because now we are deducting from source instead of relying on borrowers to pay the loans. We are actually netting off the repayments from their salaries.
Great, thank you.
I'm happy to jump in. So I've got, 3-4 questions here. So the first one is just your acquisition strategy for lenders. What is that?
Okay, so our customer acquisition strategy is basically for our borrower side, we have a sales and marketing strategy for employers as partners and employees as clients. So our selling point for employer partnership is improved financial welfare and staff motivation. And our partnerships with employers will not only be limited to loans, we will also provide financial education and empowerment for the employees. And employer onboarding is very critical to the success of our business because it will be used as a borrower acquisition strategy to get to the employees. For us to get to the employees, we will have to first partner with the employer on a short-term salary loan scheme so that we can also give their employees a favorable rate. And then we deduct from their salaries.
Sure, that's quite clear to me. But what about on the other side of your marketplace? How are you getting people who are going to be lending the money out to, how are you onboarding them? How are you acquiring them?
Okay, so initially what we're going to do is we're going to cross-sell the investment side to the borrowers so that they can also earn interest. Because now our aim is not to keep our borrowers as borrowers for forever. They need to also upgrade and be able to invest in our platform. So that's our first acquisition strategy for the investor side, is to cross-sell the investment side to the employees of that we are able to register in our platform.
So have you got an existing investment book, or is this is this a greenfields operation?
At the moment, we have not started our operations. We are still designing the front end of our application, and we're looking to also to develop the application in April and finish development by May. Then we'll start pilot it, and then from there on, we'll also engage other third parties.
Okay. And then I guess linked to Oni's point and question is, these are two Everests, these are two mountains that you're looking to climb. Peer-to-peer is one, but then payday loans is another. Has there ever been some thought in decoupling these two and maybe tackling one at a time?
Yeah, so what we're trying to do, we are trying to bundle the product to employees. So as much as it's two things, but we'll be selling them to one. For example, we'll be selling them to one like the one market segment, which are salaried employees. So these guys have the means to borrow and honor their loans. They also have the means to invest.
Okay. Can I just jump in there, Abu, just to follow up on that point? So I think it's something worth considering what Abu just said. So, I mean, I think you are picking a segment of the market, and we've seen this done, for instance, in things like affordable housing, where the lenders actually work with the employers and provide houses and then borrow against their income. And it's a great strategy. So I think it's a really good strategy. What Abu's asking is that, to develop the back end to actually get other people to loan to these, it's a lot of work. And so one thing you may consider is getting a funder or a couple funders that are willing, particularly at the beginning, to lend to these employees. And so, you don't have to go out and try and find borrowers and try and find lenders. So it's not to say you couldn't do that in the future. It's just, it is worth considering at the beginning to test out this proposition, to be able to understand the risk and how you do the pricing. It might make sense to actually raise some capital to be able to do some of those first loans, particularly if they're short-term loans. You can get the money back pretty quickly and be able to see the success rates.
Yes.
Sorry, Abu.
That was exactly my point. Thank you. You verbalized it perfectly. And then the last question is just in terms of your fees. From what I saw, there was a turn on interest rate that you were making. Have you considered transaction-based fees as well?
Yes. So as a company that sells loans, we define our unit as each loan advanced to a borrower. So how we use it to calculate the contribution margin, which is interest charged to our borrowers plus any other associated income minus variable costs, including interest paid to the investor and other expenses directly incurred from administering the loan process. So we have transactional costs for online payments. We also have costs for getting credit reports from credit bureaus. But we will not be. We will be also charging transactional fees to the borrowers and the investors for all the repayments and settlements on our platform. So they'll be absorbing the transaction costs.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. I see we do have some time left.
Yeah, can I jump in, Abu? Is that on your fourth question? Yeah, you had mentioned that you had 4 questions, so I wanted to give you a chance to run through all of them.
You're welcome to go ahead.
Great stuff. Thabisa, hi, great to meet you. I think to Annie's point that the idea is not new. I think for me, when I read it, I was thinking my mother has done this for as long as I can remember with her group of women, and she will always have a sack of money in December, and I always worried about how she is collecting her 20,000 rand and getting on a taxi and getting home after she has put in some money, where they put it together and then they lend it. But obviously when I interacted with what you're saying, it was kind of like bringing the digital element to it. So the peer-to-peer has been the character-based and things like that. I think my question just goes in the heart of the ask. You have indicated that you're looking for 50,000. What is your indication in terms of the runway it gives you? Is it carrying you all the way to month 13 when you are breaking even, or what is the plan with this 50,000?
Okay, so this 50,000 is basically, for most of it will go to capex, and then in terms of operational costs, we're looking at staff costs and sales and marketing. So for those costs, it will take me up to month 13. But the chunk of it will go to developing the solution, and also just position ourselves just to safeguard ourselves against any legal risks of conducting our business.
Okay. And in terms of your underlying assumptions around you indicated the market from a number point of view, in terms of this is the number of people who are likely to ask for the loans, but you didn't really indicate in terms of value, in terms of the loan size. So for one to get an appreciation of what sort of lending quantums they're looking at for you to be able to get to the indicated call it break even by month 13.
Okay, so for our total, sorry, so I can answer.
Yeah.
Yes, for our total addressable market, we have used the top-down approach with a combination of our own internal targets and competencies. So as per the 2020 micro lending industry report, there were 146,000 micro lending clients in Botswana. And we are looking at 71%, which is located in urban and peri-urban areas. So we anticipate 2 loans per borrower annually at an average loan value of $250, charged a median rate of 6.5%. This means that the value of our total addressable market is at the moment worth about $1.6 million US.
And I think coming back to the acquisition strategy question that Abu asked earlier, because you're adopting a B2B2C. So, I was trying to think in terms of your thoughts about who's really your customer. So when you're thinking about this whole acquisition, are you looking to spend more time on an employer? How are you accessing the borrower and talking to the borrower if your first point of contact is actually the person who's not going to need the resources from you? So just kind of walk us through that, because it's B2B2C. So your end customer is on the other side, and your engagement needs to be through the employer. What would be the absolute incentive for them to really listen to you, to do it, to invest, and what is the sort of investment that you're asking for them to make in adopting quality of platform for their employees to access?
Yeah, so as mentioned earlier, our selling point for employer partnership is improved employee financial welfare and staff motivation. So we are looking at not only advancing loans, we are also looking at providing financial education and empowerment for the employees. What we'll do is I will get a contract list of HR managers and other relevant people in different companies, directly engage with them and make proposals for partnerships. And then we'll also engage with the employee, because for the employee side, we also want to sell ourselves as an instant and affordable credit provider. So our promotion strategy for employees is to build popularity by boosting social media presence and sharing customer testimonials so that they also encourage their employers to register with us.
Fukane, do you mind? Yeah, okay.
No, go ahead, Annie. I was going to hand over the mic.
And I was actually thinking, I think, aren't they C to B to B to C? Isn't it like, just like have to throw all the letters in there? Like, so to be so, you know, I come from a place where I focus a lot on the social and the environmental impact. And, you know, to me, I think, you know, yes, you can be cheaper than the money lenders. Anyone can be cheaper than the loan sharks. But, you know, really thinking about the value that you have. And so when you keep talking about the employers, and I think that's so smart. I think working with the employers is actually really smart. I do think you're getting a little distracted by potentially trying to do this peer-to-peer. And just one other, you know, kind of piece of advice I'd give you, I think really promising business model that I'm seeing globally that I haven't seen tried in SADC. So here in SADC, we've had PeerFin, we've had RainFin, we've had Ovambo. All of those have, you know, kind of gone their different ways due to regulation so I would definitely, first of all, you need to know your competitors and your former competitors in SADC, because you have a lot to learn from there. But two, you know, the model that is interesting, that actually seems closer to what you're talking about really, is the model of working with employers to do payday it's payday loans in essence, but essentially it's advances on salaries. And so what companies are doing is they're working with employers to essentially advance part of employee salaries, particularly if they're paid at month end, and people would rather get paid weekly, and then they charge a small fee on that. And then they work with the employers, as you just said, HR managers, all of these things, because employees often struggle if they only get paid at the end of the month. And there's some really good research, actually, that's out that shows that simply by shifting, for people in low income, simply by shifting payments from once a month to 3 to 4 times a month can decrease poverty and increase their ability to access basic goods. So, you know, I think your model sounds like you're already wanting to engage with these employers a lot. So maybe it's just worth thinking about what type of, you know, financial products really do these employees need. And if it's only, you know, getting extra liquidity a couple times a month as opposed to borrowing over multiple months, maybe there's a way to, you know, think about that model. And I think that model has a long ways to go in SADC. I think it could be very, very impactful as well.
Okay.
And I think just picking on.
Yeah, go. Sorry, go for it.
Yeah, I wanted to pick on the point that Annie made, and for me that questions some of your assumptions around your potential market. You're starting with a number that is in a sort of a micro lending space, but you are going to talk to employers. So one has to check how informal are the people in the numbers that you're working with, because when you are in an employment setup, to the point that Annie just made about advances, you know, companies are already doing that, and those group of people probably have access to better lending products than the product that you are aiming to compete against. So the micro lending rates are for certain people. Are this necessarily employed people who could actually ask for advances from their employers, who can have an overdraft facility, who can have a credit card? So those are the sort of the fundamentals that you need to check in with in terms of the number, the starting number that you feel is your addressable market, considering how the solution that you're bringing. I'm going to talk to employers. It's a different kind of a customer with more access to other solutions, as to the point that just made in terms of salary advances as a solution that actually exists in some companies already.
Yeah. Thabiso, yeah, I'd like to just echo some of Oni's comments and Kwani's comments. I think this particular space is very hot at the moment. I've seen 4 or 5 different companies working on payday loans and wage access. Some people call it wage streaming as well. There are various technical terms that people are using. there's a UK-based company that's raised huge amounts of money recently in this space. So I think by focusing your efforts on what I call the decouple solution, I think there's more potential. But I just want to zoom in very quickly on your debt recovery process. Can you just talk me through, so I understand the money, you're getting the money back from the employer. What is that process? Are you integrating into their payroll system, or is it a manual process?
Yeah, so it's more of a manual process. On a monthly basis, we will send the report as to, for example, if you have 5 employees with a loan from Moneychaps, the HR manager will get a report before the payday, and then this report will have all the deductions that are to be made from people's salaries.
Okay.
So
I think
there'll be
the companies
okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was saying that the repayments will be netted off their salaries before they actually receive them.
Okay, good.
So it's more like a short-term loan scheme. Yeah. Sorry.
It's fine. I think there's a delay. But yeah, just in terms of the companies that I've seen operating in this space, I think they start off as very much a manual process, but over time automate that to the best extent possible. And a lot of these payroll solutions do have APIs that you can link into and then exchange data with. So I think the big ones are SAP and all the big IT providers. So I'd look into them and maybe initially segment your market based on what that payroll solution is, and that's going to give you a beachhead market to target and work with initially.
Okay.
Are there no regulatory constraints in terms of taking money from people's salaries? I know you can't do it in South Africa, and that has cost as a risk mitigation a factor. It killed a lot of micro lenders when regulation came on and you can't take money from somebody's salary. What is the regulatory environment like?
So here in Botswana, in terms of lending, if you have a financial service license, and you have a contract with the employer, and also before you actually advance loans to the borrowers, they need to know the terms and conditions and need to sign the contracts to that effect. So this should be clear from the onset. You should always tell them, because the contract that's signed always supersedes all these other sections on the acts. So it's all in how you educate your borrowers and how you are able to tell them the expectations, the terms and conditions before you actually advance the loan.
Yeah, it's a good point that Pokwani brings up. I think regulation within the financial services sector it's a highly regulated environment, so it's important for you to understand that. And there may be different regulations for public sector employees versus private sector employees, which is the case in South Africa. So dig deep, make sure you do get a legal opinion on where your company is allowed to operate and what you're allowed to do, because if you start operating and things unwind, it could be a problem area for you as a business.
Yes. Any more questions?
Still get a chance. I saw a thing about time. I don't know if we still have time to ask more questions. Just tell me, so what are your thoughts around this, the offering to the investor for the 50,000 that you think you're in the market for? What are your current thoughts? Are they bringing it as a loan? Are they bringing it as equity? What's the offer on the table?
So yeah, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at convertible grants. I'm also looking at convertible loans. And then the last resort will be equity, of course. but convertible grants and convertible loans, those are my first options.
And what is the big game here? Are we just lending and going to make interest, or we're trying to create a platform, create big data one day? What's the big play that you're looking at in creating this this platform?
Okay, so basically this platform I want to establish as an all-round peer-to-peer finance platform. This will include payments, crowd traveling. But you see, one thing about financial inclusion in Africa, people are always looking for benefits. It's always about what's in it for me. So I know that there is high demand for emergency credit here in Botswana, and that is also a business driver in its own. If you have people borrowing with you, you can cross sell some of these products. Like if you have credit, you can cross sell payments, you can cross sell goal-based savings, group savings. These are some of the products that are there. But there has to be a driver. There has to be something that motivates people to actually come to your platform. And for me, and as I considered our local market, credit always makes business case, because most people are there was a 14% increase in the demand for microloans, pawn shops, and other micro lenders. So that's the where I'm coming from. Yeah.
Okay, while Vu's playing hide and seek, maybe you could tell us a bit about your team. You showed us a slide. Who's involved on a full-time basis, and who's got other commitments?
Okay, we only have one person who's involved full-time basis. She's a lady who's also helping us with our technical issues. I work. I'm on an 8 to 5 at the moment as a management accountant. I also have a developer who also has a business to run. But we always find time to take care of the business. And it is also worth pointing out that I also have some in my advisory team. I also have people, professionals in the industry. I have people who are chief investment officers. I also have auditors in the financial service sector, and we also have the director of our Amaranto Consulting as one of the advisory board members. This is a well-renowned digital finance consultancy company. Yeah.
So I asked that question and I make that point not because it's a bad thing. I think the African startup is a much longer journey than what you'd find in other markets, and so it is a marathon, and important that you manage your commitments and your life accordingly. So we're looking locally in South Africa. It's 8 to 12 years if you're successful. And there are lots of companies that don't make it through that period of time. So I think you're doing the right thing, just in building this business while keeping the lights on through your management consulting role.
Yes.
Amazing. Well done, Thabiso. Thank you so much, everybody. What an amazing panel. What an amazing piece of advice. I know that the audience watching is also taking notes like crazy. So hopefully, Thabiso, you are listening. And again, for those of you who don't know, Audi also lectures. I've been to some of her lectures at UCT and some of her classes at Oxford as well. You can also find a lot of the content she produces on a MOOC on behalf of the Graduate School of Business. This is why, she's got an unfair advantage on the content side with the lecturing. So really appreciate the amazing depth of advice and insights. Thabiso, if you believe it or not, jury members, Thabiso, when he came to us in this program, was just an idea. So my team is very proud of the impact and the effort Thabiso has had and the achievement is had. So we are very proud of you, my brother. We know that you're only beginning. The world doesn't know what's coming. Mr. Obaka is on his way. So again, congratulations. Any last comments for you, for the judges, for the program?
Yes, so I'm grateful for this opportunity. When I joined this program, I didn't know it was going to be this amazing. Thanks to everyone that has played a part in making this possible. Yeah, so now I think I'm very confident that I'm ready for the world.
Pleasure. And do look out. I've actually got a little something for you. Oni put up something on Twitter yesterday, offering an amazing opportunity. And I think now that she's met you and she's interacted with you, she might want to talk some more with you based on the offer she made on Twitter yesterday. I'll share that with you on WhatsApp shortly. So again, we're going to move the conversation forward, but I do owe you a video before we move on to the next session. So I'm going to let the team put that video on. It's from the session we had previously with Dario. Very quick, short clip that demonstrates the growth of financial inclusion as an investment class in Africa today. Over to you, Dickie. Yeah. Extraordinary. So again, if you're reaching us and you're tuning in from somewhere across the world, Africa and financial inclusion, fintech, ultimately in Africa, is the game in town. So again, do follow the conversation on social media. Hashtag SADC Innovation. Do tag FinMock Trust, Hyper Group, hashtag financial inclusion. Again, do make comments. So if you're tuning in, thank you for the comments on Facebook. Thank you for the comments on YouTube. Do continue to bring those comments, and we'll bring them forward from our studio right here in Cape Town, where the DPK team is managing things. And again, it's getting quite interested in terms of how this thing is shaping up. It's crazy to think we are now down to the final hour of this program. It's been really a roller coaster time. We started off really with a digital diamond, and I'm already seeing messages and emails coming into my mailbox. So Tabiso, you did a great job, and then followed on by financial inclusion and fintech, again with that wonderful thought leadership session we just had with Dario from Brighter and the insights. Again, that video from Dario's team, that infographic, just demonstrating the growth and demand for fintech solutions that again drive impact and value in society can make. And then we had Moneychaps, again, just completed, and I'm sure we can certainly look forward to some amazing things being accomplished by the team at Moneychaps with Tabiso and his team out in Botswana, building the next generation of solutions. In this final session, we're going to change it up a bit, okay? We're going to have some interesting kind of input. We're moving in terms of the impact of financial inclusion in the agricultural space. So again, we're once again moving the conversation forward. And in this particular session, you can look forward to hearing from one of the companies that we've worked with in West Africa and Nigeria, Farmforte, who will share how they've built the solution. And again, you will then get to meet the dynamic Phema co-founded Phema Agri, who's doing some incredible things out in Tanzania, basically building the next generation of solutions that again is going to drive impact. So not only am I excited for this particular one, but also it's crazy to think that we're down to the final hour. Continue to engage with us on YouTube and Facebook, and remember the hashtag. It's hashtag SADC Innovation. Over to you, Dickie.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Sia. I'm a co-founder of a technology consulting firm called Skyhawk Innovations, which is headquartered in South Africa, but currently serving clients in the US, the Europe, as well as the African continent. Today, I want to introduce my favorite and emerging tech startups called Phema Agri, which is based in Tanzania. So growing a small scale farm in the continent is one of the biggest challenges due to we don't have enough or sufficient access to funding as well as access to market. And Phema Agri is solving that specific problem. And Phema Agri is a agri-tech platform that helps grow small-scale farmers through providing them access to funding as well as access to finance. What I do like about Donald as well as Daniela, the founders of Phema Agri, is that this is not just an idea for them or to them, but then they went in and invested so much time and effort to speak to their potential customers, which is the farmers, and they validated their assumptions of their business model. So the way that they managed to do that is they managed to raise funding, provide access to funding, provide access to market to the farmers, as well as the most important thing is they managed to pay back the farmers the money, the investors the money that they have raised. So Phema Agri is in the process of growing at the moment, so they're trying to raise as much. They're trying to raise funds so that they can grow their business model. I believe that they've got a business model that is scalable. Thank you.
My name is Charles Oj. I'm director at Farmforte. Well, it's been a very interesting journey so far in Farmforte. I mean, when we look back to 2012 when we started, with a basic concept of saying how can we connect farmers to markets and trying different types of things in food production with our farm in Edo State with sweet potatoes, and exporting that to Europe, partnering with farmers and different organizations around sourcing different types of commodities, from sorghum to millet to cashew, and then taking it further into processing, where we've invested in our cashew line. We're looking at rice milling now, all to add value. With Freshforte, this is really the next step of getting ourselves to the very end of the value chain, where we basically put up this flagship retail store to bring in different type of exciting products and services towards consumers. And we're really very excited about this initiative to deliver outstanding experiences to consumers here in Lagos and eventually beyond. So we look forward to having you when we open, and we look forward to receiving you here in the store to try out some of our new exciting products and services. Thank you very much.
My name is Osazo Osai. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Farmforte, and we are an agricultural value chain development company. We play across the value chain of very specific agricultural products. We have operations primarily in Nigeria and a few other countries around the world. Our mission really is to utilize technology and innovative models to create the most efficient and affordable methods to produce crops, add value, and create access to markets locally and globally. Growth in agriculture has proven to be 2 or 3 times as effective at reducing extreme poverty, promoting economic growth, and ensuring food security than any other sector. And because about 80% of our food on the continent is produced by smallholder farmers, as a company, one of our ultimate goals is to continue providing smallholder farmers opportunities to scale. Our solutions are 3-pronged. We focus largely on sustainable agriculture, value addition, and market creation. By playing across the value chain, we are able to provide consumers with the best quality produce at highly competitive prices. On the sustainable agriculture part, this is really how we grow the food we grow, either on our farms or the farms of farmers we work with. On our farms, we have a collective bank of about 12,700 hectares, of which 1,000 hectares of that is dedicated towards production of sweet potatoes, and another portion is allocated towards oil palm production. And we are also at the beginning phase of production of a few other crops like avocado, bananas, and pineapples. Also, through our outgrower programs, we work with smallholder farmers. We currently have about 110,000 of them signed in our network, and we source and aggregate a variety of agricultural produce ranging from sesame seeds, cowpea, cocoa, and cashews, both for export and local market consumption. We recognize that smallholder farmers are the key to food security on the continent. So not only do they hold large swaths of arable land, but they also constitute about 70% of the workforce on the continent. However, they are bedeviled by a marriage of challenges ranging from low yields, post-harvest losses, lack of finance, low mechanization, and poor access to markets. So we try our best to sort of provide them with credit, training, inputs, and harvest support. On the part of value addition, we have developed several solutions to process and package agricultural goods into world-class products for local and global markets. From our sweet potatoes grown in Nigeria, for instance, we produce a sweet potato beer product for the European market in our facilities in the Netherlands. We also produce a sweet potato puree. We produce a French fries product and a sweet potato chips product as well. We have a 10 metric ton per hour integrated rice mill. We've also invested in a fully automated poultry slaughterhouse with a capacity of 2,500 beds per hour. And also currently setting up a 50 cattle per hour and 100 goats per hour of fully automated slaughterhouse, all in Edo State. And in Lagos State, we have an installed cashew processing facility of about 20 metric tons per day. On the part of market creation, one major challenge that farmers on the continent face is access to markets. And guaranteed access is vital for profitable success. So under this segment, we sort of further break it down into 3 focus areas. The first of which is distribution. On the distribution part, we constantly seek to eliminate wastage by deploying world-class technology to tackle storage and logistical challenges to ensure that traders in the open markets across Nigeria can gain easier access to produce sourced directly from farmers. On the retail side, we recently launched our flagship retail outlet in Lekki, Lagos, where we give consumers a complete farm-to-fork experience. They're able to purchase produce that's sourced directly from our farms and from other farmers across the country. The last component under market creation is exports. At Farmforte, we provide reliable access to local and global markets for smallholder farmers. We buy up all the produce of our smallholder farmers and add value, which thereby gives them a guaranteed income and greater potential for profit. A lot of our export activities are coordinated by our sales office in the Netherlands. I believe one major differentiating factor for us and any other business that will thrive on the continent, regardless of the sector, would be to ensure that the business is technology enabled. We have developed 4 digital solutions to enhance our business and ensure seamless operations across our business units. The first of which was Agro Partnerships, which is an innovative digital platform that gives members of the public an opportunity to invest in agribusiness. It seeks to address the issues of access to finance faced by most smallholder farmers in Nigeria, which is also a similar problem across the continent. While we're also encouraging general investments in the agricultural sector. The second of such solutions is a product called AgriLink. We are currently in the trial phase of this digital platform that seeks to bridge the gap between demand and supply of agricultural produce. A major issue for many smallholder farmers across Nigeria is access to markets. Like I've mentioned earlier,
while a major issue for many large off-takers is the lack of steady supply and administrative burden of dealing with several farmers for the sourcing of these produce. The whole aim of AgriLink is really to connect the demand and supply side by facilitating the supply of agricultural produce from smallholder farmers to the large off-takers. Another of such solutions which we've developed is a product called Farmforte Go. This is really a digital platform that connects consumers with our retail outlets, enabling them to order for their groceries and fresh produce directly from the comfort of their homes. The fourth product is Mora, and is really a women buyers digital platform that's sort of aimed at providing women traders access to credit and other financial services, while allowing them place bulk orders for agricultural produce on the platform. With regards to the perspective on food and food security in Africa, regardless of the numerous problems that is faced in agriculture, there are twice as many opportunities. In simple terms, I would say the main problem in the sector can be attributed to the fragmentation of the value chain. The broken links in the value chain seriously undermine all the efforts which have been put into the sector by several players over the years. An ideal scenario would be all aspects of the agricultural value chain to be connected seamlessly. There will be sufficient research, data, and information about several value chains, which would be available and accessible to those considering to go into food production. Farmers would have access to inputs, training, mechanized equipment, and credit to grow and expand their production capacity. After harvest, they would have access to adequate storage and logistics for ease of transition to processing for onward markets. There will be infrastructure to support processing and manufacturing. There will be quality standards that consumers can rely on, and also to ensure that they receive the best quality of produce for which supply is constant and fit for the purpose. But we seem to be a very long way from the ideal scenario in Africa, but we will certainly get there. The opportunities lie in plugging the gaps and building strong links between the various aspects of the value chain. The right approach is, however, key in ensuring longevity of solutions. There's also a need for all value chain actors to come together and embrace a collaborative and syndicated approach to plug in gaps in the value chain. Challenges are beneficial because they force us to innovate, but innovation can far without effective and strategic collaboration between players. We at Farmforte recently published a white paper where we outlined the challenges and opportunities in the agricultural value chain in details. I think there's a link to the white paper on the presentation. With regards to building, my experience of building a sustainable solution agribusiness in Africa, I would go back to how we started. We were incorporated in 2014, but at that point, the dream and vision for the business had been several years in the making prior. As I mentioned earlier, challenges are beneficial because they force us to innovate. So the business evolved over the years. We have developed most of our business solutions, and it's always starting with a challenge in mind, as well as the most efficient way to solve that challenge. The core of our business has always been sustainability. We have always aimed to promote environmentally sound and more profitable methods of farming in Africa through sustainability practices, because we believe that Africa's greatest opportunity to play on the global scene lies in agriculture. For example, when we launched our operations, we were mainly an export-focused business, and the challenges we had in mind was how to sustainably increase export earnings and how we could increase the earnings for smallholder farmers in the country. We discovered that there was a high international demand for certain commodities that we produce here in Nigeria, which were not necessarily consumed or valued here in the local market. A good example of such a crop is sesame seeds. Sesame seeds grow very well in Nigeria, and we're one of the top producers globally, but it's not really consumed in large quantities here. They are much more valued in other countries, in parts of the Middle East and in Asia, where they are used for several purposes, to further process into sesame oil, tahini, which is a Middle Eastern condiment, and also serves as a garnish for burger buns. Using this same approach, we have continued to invest in value addition and value chain development in Nigeria. Building a sustainable business in Nigeria takes grit and determination, and despite the opportunities that exist, sometimes the challenges can be suffocating. Like many other businesses, we have encountered several roadblocks along the way, and are often plagued by some of the very challenges we have been working to solve for years. But we adopt a very bold and unrelenting approach, and we are committed to keep going no matter what. Lastly, on the future of agriculture and technology, I believe that in 5 years from now, my hope is that in Africa, it would no longer be considered innovative to adopt technology in agriculture, and I'm hoping that it will become the new norm. We would move beyond using technology to solve challenges and move towards using technology to be more precise in our processes to enhance profitability, safety, efficiency, and environmental friendliness. In the near to immediate future, we must recognize that we can no longer take the conventional route, and we must adopt new technologies to drive exponential transformation in the sector, with digital solutions being scaled at an affordable cost to both the providers and the intended end users. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Osa, for that. Thank you to Charles as well. Again, I know Charles has worked very hard with the team in Nigeria at Farmforte. We are so incredibly fortunate to get to work with your amazing team. You know, the journey has been incredible working with you, building the company to where it is today. So incredibly proud. One of the proudest achievements at Hiba. And as the sign behind me says, your journey to scale begins here. And again, certainly one true example of this is Farmforte. Again, you've got the context. And by the way, those of you are telling us that you love those intro videos. They are available on the Flock app. They will be available on the Flock app for the remainder of the month. So do download the Flock app, find the SADC Innovation Demo Day event. You'll be able to see those videos and have them available. And again, we'll make them available on social media for everybody and the team. So kudos and congratulations to our graphics team for putting together those beautiful intro videos that kind of get us into this session, which is focusing on agri-tech. We're into our final portion of the program, and it brings me great pride to welcome Mr. Siyabonga Tiwane, who has been our partner at Skywalk in this program as our technical partner. He's also one of my mentees, and I've seen his journey of entrepreneurship grow from day one. So Sia will be introducing another young person I'm incredibly proud of through this process in this program, Ms. Daniela Kuwayu, who's the co-founder and CEO of Phema Agri, as they take us through the opportunity that Phema Agri is working on in terms of # financial inclusion, again, through agri-tech, as Osa has shared with us. So the innovation context is wide. The opportunity is there. We'll be joining Daniela and her team out in Tanzania in Dar es Salaam, as again, they go into another live Q&A panel, and we'll introduce that after Daniela has done her pitch. Over to you, Sia, for Daniela's pitch.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Sia. I'm a co-founder of a technology consulting firm called Skyhawk Innovations, which is headquartered in South Africa, but currently serving clients in the US, the Europe, as well as the African continent. Today, I want to introduce my favorite and emerging tech startups called Phema Agri, which is based in Tanzania. So growing a small scale farm in the continent is one of the biggest challenges due to we don't have enough or sufficient access to funding as well as access to market. And Phema Agri is solving that specific problem. And Phema Agri is a agri-tech platform that helps grow small-scale farmers through providing them access to funding as well as access to finance. What I do like about Donald as well as Daniela, the founders of Phema Agri, is that this is not just an idea for them or to them, but then they went in and invested so much time and effort to speak to their potential customers, which is the farmers, and they validated their assumptions of their business model. So the way that they managed to do that is they managed to raise funding, provide access to funding, provide access to market to the farmers, as well as the most important thing is they managed to pay back the farmers the money, the investors the money that they have raised. So Phema Agri is in the process of growing at the moment, so they're trying to raise as much. They're trying to raise funds so that they can grow their business model. I believe that they've got a business model that is scalable. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Daniela Kwayu. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Phema Agri. We're an agri-tech company that creates innovative solutions to help smallholder farmers produce more efficiently, access premium markets, and unlock financing to scale up their operations. In Tanzania, there's over more than 60 financial institutions with less than 5% of lending going into the agriculture sector. This is a sector that is driven by smallholder farmers who make up to 60% of all the farmers' population. Smallholder farmers are often equated as a risk. They cannot access financing because of the unstructured nature of the environment that they exist in. At Phema Agri, we aim to de-risk these farmers by addressing their need to access capital and reliable market linkages. Via Phema Agri financing platform, our farmers are linked to investors looking to grow their wealth by investing in smallholder farmer communities. And through our Phema Market platform, our farmers are able to sell their products via a digital marketplace that connects them with the retail outlets in Tanzania. We provide an end-to-end approach, a market-driven value chain ecosystem, de-risked, and smallholder farmers they can invest in. We have two revenue-generating streams. Our investors pay us a commission to provide them with credible farmers, structured and market secured, who are invest worthy. We launched this in April 2020 as a crowdfunding platform and are now looking to scale up to add more institutional investors. Our Phema Market platform, however, we receive a commission by selling and delivering our farmers' products to retail outlets in Tanzania. We launched in December 2020 and have currently made 14 tons worth of sales and are looking to increase our sales to 60 tons per month in 2021. We also offer value-added services via partnerships with various companies such as input providers, insurance companies. We also offer capacity building and support for the farmers in terms of capacity building and training. We launched in April 2020 and we're considered COVID babies and are currently operating in two value chains, that's the rice and poultry value chain. We're the first agriculture value chain financing in Tanzania. However, we do have competition around the African landscape. We believe our competitive advantage is our ability to provide an end-to-end approach towards controlling value chains and monitoring production and investments from farm to fork. We've currently raised about $65,000 in various competitions in Africa, which were used to scale up our current value chains and develop a Phema Market platform. Our goal is to structure 6 value chains over the next 5 years, and facilitate financing for 10,000 farmers in these value chains. We're a female-led and youth-run company that is made up of 10 youth and energetic, ambitious team of individuals. I myself am a financial economist with over 9 years experience working in the banking sector, agriculture sector, marketing, and the oil and gas industry. We're looking to raise about $150,000 in pre-seed fundraising to be able to help us with tech development, working capital, and sales, to increase more sales in the Phema Market side, and to develop our tech platform in the Phema Agri side to be able to onboard more institutional investors such as financial institutions. Via partnerships, we believe we're playing our parts to reduce food insecurity, post-harvest loss, and increase farmers' prosperity, all the while giving you financial invest-worthy farmers who are invest-worthy for you to invest in. Agriculture first, invest now. Welcome to Phema Agri.
Well, thank you so much to Sia all the way in Mpumalanga over there, and thank you to Daniela for that wonderful pitch. Again, we want to welcome Daniela and her team in Dar es Salaam, and along with Daniela, joining Daniela is another illustrious panel of amazing investors. This time we are joined by Tendai, the East Africa lead for Eco VC. We are joined by Sarah, the principal at Enigma Ventures, and we are joined once again by my favorite person today, Abu Kasim from Josie Angels. So again, I'm gonna hand it over to you guys to take on the rest. The next time you see me, we'll be wrapping up and closing off on the session. So all the best, Daniela. This is a very good one, a tough, good pitch of people. And I'm gonna hand over to Sarah to kick off the Q&A session with Daniela for this panel. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you so much. Well, congratulations, Daniela, on all that you've done so far to date. And also starting a business in COVID is no mean feat. So huge congrats for that. This is super interesting. I'd love to understand what revenue you drove in 2020. And first question. And second question, I'd love to understand, you said that you were utilizing the sort of the investment platform also as a peer-to-peer platform, or so I'd love to understand a little bit more about that, and if you'd managed to raise any other capital other than the 65,000 that you talked about. So can you hear? Do those questions make sense?
Right. Thank you very much for the time. Thank you for making the day today, and we're really grateful to have you here. Yeah, it does. It does. Can you hear me?
Yes, I think we just have a delay, that's all.
Oh, perfect. So first of all, so in 2020, we piloted the crowdfunding platform, and we were able to raise for pig value chain financing for pig farmers in Dar es Salaam. However, we wanted to pivot a little bit because crowdfunding as a platform to generate revenue for the agriculture sector in Tanzania is quite new, and hence we're working with the government on the ground to be able to create for them to understand this lies in crowdfunding. With that said in mind, we decided to pivot a little bit so that we can, while that conversation is ongoing, we're able to also onboard institutional investors who actually, they have the portfolio, they have the money sitting in a portfolio somewhere, and they're looking for smallholder farmers. There's just a perceived risk around how and who to actually invest in. So what we created is we continue to de-risk value chains, and now are linking. We have a value chain coming up for poultry. We're exploring equity bank to be able to still finance the same farmers in our platform. So like I said in the pitch, we're looking to scale the platform to onboard more institutional investors, and this is a gear towards that. So the part that we were generating revenue in 2020 is via our access to market platform, Phema Market, where we were till now in the first month we launched in December 2020, and we were able to sell 3 tons worth of rice in our first month, and up to now we are on our third month. We've generating 10,000 worth of revenues and sold 14 tons worth of rice to connecting them to retail outlets in Tanzania. And our aim for the year is to scale this and sell about 60 tons worth of sales per month. And we're working towards onboarding more retail outlets and retail outlets, export market, export clients, so that they can be able to further offtake more of our farmers' products. But on the agri-financing side, we're working with financial institutions to be able to scale that to more farmers and award financing to more farmers.
What revenue?
Does that sound okay?
Yeah, it sounds great. What revenue were you hoping to do from those 60,000 tons? Help me do the math on that.
Hello?
The question not coming through.
Sorry?
The question, Daniela, was how much revenue?
So we have three different rice grades of products. So for the next year, we're looking to raise about close to $1 million for smallholder by selling these products to the market.
Okay, that didn't quite answer my question, but I'll let someone else have a chance to ask questions.
Okay. Hi, Daniela. This is Sendai from Echo VC. And again, just to echo what Sarah said, congrats on the progress so far. The smallholder farmer sector is a very important sector for Africa, but it's been challenging and also one that's overlooked. So I really like what you're building. My question is just around sort of how to de-risk the farmers, given that some of them have, I guess, inherent losses to their crops, or just from mismanagement, or either from pest or disease. So how do you think about trying to de-risk them and make sure that their yields are still appropriate to match the financing?
Right. So we're very much market driven. We believe in starting by the market and working backwards. The ethos of where Phema Agri comes about is financing does exist in one end. However, without connecting the dots and linking them to a market, this is where smallholder farmers starts to create default on their loans and NPLs. This is where NPLs start. So we start by the market. We either partner with an off-taker who has a capacity to off-take large quantities from the farmers, or we link them to Phema Market and link them to retail outlets so that they can buy directly from our farmers. That way we can really have visibility on what the demand looks like on the supply side. How much products is really demanded and how much products can really sell. So for our Phema, our rice value chain, by unlocking 60 tons worth of rice, we can now structure farmers knowing that I know a place, exactly the retail outlets, exactly the school, exactly the place where you're going to be able to sell the product. And that way we're able to now finance and structure more farmers in that value chain. And that's how we do it in all the other value chains. So we have the poultry value chain, for example, where we have a partner. So not every value chain we connect directly. Some will partner with institutions who are doing this job and off-taking from farmers. And we partner with them and we work with what qualities and consistency they need to be able to sustain that offtake. And we work backwards and structure farmers and help farmers and train farmers to be able to meet that offtake. And that's where the agri-financing platform comes. And we're very market driven. We believe that end-to-end approach is what is needed to really unlock financing for these smallholder farmers.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And then just in terms of, I guess, your vision for the platform in terms of the upsides or just extra verticals that you want to add on to the platform. So you're doing the guaranteed offtake, you're doing the financing. Are there any other services or products that you're excited about that you want to push into the platform?
There are. So one product that I'm really quite excited to bring to front and actually automating and digitizing it is the insurance bit. Right now, we're actively just partnering up with an insurance company, and we've done majority of the work to negotiate better premium rates for our farmers. But we want that process to be automated. So this is where InsurTech comes in, partnering with InsurTech companies or insurance companies to be able to still award these services. And there's a revenue generating model with that, aligned to that. Second of all, it's also in line of that, just that little bit, we're able to further de-risk that farmer even more, because now we have an insurance that is either weather indexed or for livestock or crop that we're able to assure the farmer. Now, the second value additional services that we believe that we're really banking in our ecosystem is partnerships with input providers. Because as we're financing a farmer, we want to be able to really assure what exactly are they growing. Since we're very market driven, we want to be able to know this is the seed you can grow, and this is how much it will yield if we're able to farm like this. So we're partnerships with, for example, right now we're working on the poultry value chain, and we're in talks with the likes of Silverlands, who are already, they're the biggest input providers for the poultry value chain. So by working with the off-taker and input provider, the financing is in terms of input financing. We don't necessarily give the farmer the actual cash, because that's another layer of risk that we're onboarding into the platform. So to de-risk that, we make sure the financing goes into the input provider to be able to deliver the right services the farmer need. And we do the monitoring and tracking and provide regular reports to our investors, so they really can be with us every step of the production process until the offtake is done. And then that's when the revenue is created for both the farmer, ourselves, and also the investor. They're able to get a return on investment for their investment.
Great, thank you. Very exciting. Thank you.
Hi, Daniela. Let's try it by the discussion. My question relates to the vetting of the farmers. So how do you vet your farmers? And then how is this better than incumbent solutions that are currently being used by lenders?
So the vetting on our side, we are creating an ecosystem because we do want also financial institutions to play a part in this. So we're making sure our vetting is in line with what is existing in the economy, because if you want insurance companies to be able to also play a part, not insurance, financial institutions to also play a part in investing in the ecosystem. So we deploy a proper KYC vetting of the farmers. We're not onboarding inexperienced farmers. We work with farmers who are already experienced and have the knowledge, and then we do capacity building. But our platform does the KYC proper as a financial institution would. It's just now the funding can come from different angles. It can come from institutional investors. It can come from individuals, because there is a liquidity aspect in the market that there's people who are looking for investment opportunities, but we want to be able to secure these farmers and make sure that the investment coming to them is credible. That's why we want to be able to, we provide a proper KYC approach. And we partner with AMCOs, and we don't believe the undertaking of onboarding more farmers can be done one farm at a time. We're working with aggregators, AMCOs, SACOSs, who have big farmer communities that they're already working with. And we're tapping into that ecosystem to be able to be like, okay, now you have these group of farmers, I have this market. We can onboard those farmers, they can access this market, and we can also be able to give them the financing they need to scale up their operations. So we piggyback through partnerships with other entities that are already working with farmers, but also we do a rigorous KYC. We geotag, we make sure we know where the farm is located, because we want to be able to monitor the investment throughout the production process. I hope that is able to answer that question a little bit.
Yeah, can you just zoom in on what you mean by KYC? Is it just identification, or do you do an assessment and analysis of the farmer's ability to repay the loan?
So KYC, so the standard regulatory KYC requirements, we do that. Also, we go further. So if you're poultry farmers, our farmers is, we track how many years of experience do you have? What type of farming expertise do you have? What type of farming do you do? So for example, our poultry value chain, our off-taker requires broiler type of chicken of certain qualities with this input. So we make sure, so you as a farmer on this ecosystem, what type of farming do you do? Is this different from what we're doing? Do we need to do capacity building to make sure that that farm you are able to perform according to the market that we've been able to secure you? Because we want to be able to make sure that you're able to sell that product, because that's where the return on investment kind of comes in. So we go the extra mile, but we make it secure enough that we're also working with the current regulatory requirements from a Bank of Tanzania perspective as well.
Okay, so it sounds like an incubation process where you've got line of sight of these farmers for some months before you then open them up to the market.
Yeah,
all right,
because we have to also advocate insurance.
The next question then just relates to, in terms of the risk you're assuming as a marketplace, are you liable for delivery in any way? And if so, what is that liability that you assume?
So from the marketplace perspective, we right now we are purchasing from our farmers and assuring them of a market, and that's why we start with onboarding the retail outlets and analyzing what product do they want and what quality. Like I said, we're very market driven. So the retail outlets will tell us, a restaurant will tell us, we want this type of rice of this quality, and we'll buy 1 ton a month. So we onboard 5 or 10 of these retail outlets and realize, okay, so now we have a 10-ton demand. How many farmers can we align for this type of demand? So it's a very much, when we purchase, we know exactly where we're going to sell. We know exactly at what price we're going to be selling. So even the offtake, the partnership that we have with the company that we're partnering up on the poultry value chain, they give us specifications. With these level of quality, we will buy at this pre-agreed price, and a contract is signed, and then we work backwards. We connect the farmers to that already assured market that we have been able to pre-negotiate for them. And we monitor them throughout to make sure they do sustain and make sure they sustain that market secured.
Okay, thanks. I think Sarah had a question.
I do, yeah.
Hi, Sarah.
What do you think, Daniela, is your largest or biggest challenge when you think about scaling your business?
The biggest challenge in scaling our business right now is possibly the ability the openness for the environment to partner, the financial institutions, the partnerships that we're able to secure. Because right now we've been able to unlock one financial institution. So we're working in unlocking this financial institution, that's Equity Bank, who's showing an interest in financing our farmers. So this is the challenge we're posing. Banks, you have the portfolio. You have the portfolio farmers for agriculture sector. We have de-risked farmers who you can invest in. So the more partnerships we're able to tie in from financial institutions, from DFIs, and unlock the crowdfunding elements, we're able to scale up to more farmers in that ecosystem. We're a very partnership-based model, so the more partners we're able to onboard in the ecosystem, the more impact we're able to make. And also, I think it's from the tech perspective. We're in creating a tech that is a super integrated platform, that because we are mirroring a credit process for financial institutions, so that tech development, so that we can be able to purely automate the entire underwriting process, and so that more farmers are able to just align into the ecosystem. They're able to get the underwriting for a loan. They're able to have a secured market that is integrated. So that whole process is, I believe, a challenge for now, but I think as we scale, that is, with the more financing we're able to attract in, we're able to develop a team to further scale that ecosystem and scale that that opportunity.
I understand. And you understand that we are all investors, right? That we could invest in your business.
Yes. And this is where you as funders, because part in our platform is we're a blended finance platform. We're bringing individual investors via crowdfunding. We bring financial institutions. We bring equity partners who are interested in investing in these value chains. So it's for us to provide the portfolio of de-risked farmers and say, okay, this is a de-risked economy that you can invest in. Are you interested? We believe that the opportunity is there and these farmers are performing. It's just, are you interested? Where is your money going to be located at? We are giving you a portfolio of de-risked economies, de-risked farmers, de-risked a whole end-to-end approach that you can piggy bank and grow your wealth, grow your portfolio with. So please give us a chance.
Well, I'd love to look at your numbers a little bit more. I'd love to dig in a bit deeper with you more. I think this is really interesting. I think you've got a very interesting, potentially very highly scalable model, which is great. If you can get this to work, it's rolloutable not just in Tanzania, but in many other SADC countries across the region. So it's really interesting. So I'm happy to reach out after this and we'll talk some more. And I'll love to dig into your numbers. So good job.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I look forward to furthering this conversation with you.
Yeah. Thanks, Daniel. As I said before, very inspiring what you're building. And I think what we're trying to figure out, at least from outside, the smallholder farmer sector is extremely difficult. So trying to figure out how to acquire the farmers at scale efficiently, and then how to make sure that the de-risking is there and your MPLs can be managed correctly. So congrats on what you've built so far.
Thank you very much.
Daniela, I've got two more questions. So the first one is, can you tell us a bit about the profile of the loans that you've seen so far? So is it project-based? What's the term of these loans? Are they asset-backed in any way? And what has been the return on the loans that you've managed to facilitate?
So the first, we launched with a pig value chain. Like I said, it was a 3-month investment round for 10% return on investment. And that was a successful raise. We did it in 3 funding rounds. The first round we raised in a day. The second round, I think it was in a couple of hours. And the third, it was within an hour, it was all gone. So it was quite a huge demand in that side. So when we're now onboarding institutional investors, because we're trying to work with the government so that we don't get the red flags. So as onboarding institutional investors, our next value chain we're working with is a poultry value chain. Like I said, we have a 12-month investment that supports 6 cycles of production, and it's an 18% return on investment on those farmers. And we are working with an off-taker, a big frozen meat distribution company that is off-taking about right now 60 to 70,000 chickens a month. So that's a continuous demand, and they're scaling up to 150,000. So now we can structure more farmers in that ecosystem and award that. And with these farmers that we're working with, we're raising $150,000 for that 12-month return on investment for 18% ROI. So for that is just the more value. We have a rice value chain coming up for 100 women farmers. We're now working on de-risking that further, where we are in conversations with Aga Khan Foundations, where they are awarding us these farmers. And like I said, so we piggyback on these organizations that already have this ecosystem of farmers that we're already working with by giving them these services. So we're now working to underwrite that loan facility for those 100 farmers in the rice value chain as well.
All right, awesome. And then one last question. So I'm just going to articulate what I've understood as your business. There are 3 components. There's this upskilling component, this incubation, as I called it. Then there's the trading platform, which is where you're connecting guys who are looking for product with the guys who are supplying the product. And then separately, you've got a crowdfunding platform where you've got the farmers on one side and you've got lenders on the other side. There are 2 marketplaces plus an education component in that. Have you given thought to maybe decoupling that, focusing on one area of your business initially, and then building this out over time? You've got great energy, and I can see the entrepreneur. You've just got entrepreneurial blood in you. But as a starting point, is it worth maybe focusing on a particular area of your business, building that out, and then as your vision starts being realized and adding these different other elements of your business?
No, definitely. The answer is definitely. I think even when we started, that was our focus. We started with just the agri-financing platform. However, we realized without having a secured market, you will not be able to fully secure and de-risk this ecosystem and finance these farmers. So in the beginning, we started by partnering with entities and companies that are already off-taking. However, in certain value chains, for example, the rice value chains, there's quite few of these outlets, companies that we were able to partner with. And we saw a huge demand in hotels telling us, you have farmers, we're looking for this product. So it became almost like a necessary evil to be able to, we can directly connect them to retail outlets and bypass these companies who are maybe reluctant to partner with us at first because we are a startup, but we can show that end-to-end approach. So almost it became a necessary evil that we created, and it's, to be quite honest, it snowballed super fast than we ever anticipated because we launched it in December. And in our first month, we were like 3 tons, okay. And now we have 40 retail outlets and we've sold 14 tons. So now we say if we have control of that market, we can directly structure farmers without waiting for these partnerships to come in place. So we can, so it became, yeah, it snowballed from there, but I very agree with you. So the focus for us is still in that financing. And because for that financing, we still need to get to the market. And so by having that in-house, we're really able to control that ecosystem and those value chains and scale them further, because the more outlets we unlock, the more farmers we can link to that outlet. So I very much agree with you. But yeah, so that's kind of how things kind of snowballed.
All right, thank you.
Hold on.
Oh, you're on mute.
Hello?
Daniela, well done. Thank you so much, everybody. I could see Sarah is itching to do something, and it's quite, you know, again, but we always know we don't do deals on the platform. This is not why we're here. You guys will get to meet, and again, Sarah, we've been quite intentional with this. So Daniela spent some time with Lelemba as well. So we, you know, you'll be happy to know that. And Lelemba was also equally as impressed about Daniela's prospects, its success. So we're only too happy to be sharing that with you here. So again, thank you to Sadai as well. Welcome to the family, Sadai. We're going to be doing a lot of work. Please, you there already. Just take a quick flight to Dar es Salaam. The team at Phema Agri, I'm sure, will welcome you, and we'll put together an itinerary for you to go and just go and look at what
welcome.
And thank you to my wonderful friend, Abu. Abu is representing Josie Angels. Again, we couldn't do this without the angel community across the continent. One of our one of our advisors and a close personal friend of ours, Tommy Davies, who spent time with us in the program, would have been here, but I could think of nobody else to fill in the shoes, the big shoes of the godfather of angel investing in Africa than you, Abu. So grateful that you are here representing the community that you've built at Josie Angels, and I knew that you would really give these guys the most intense input and advice. With that said, thank you so much to all our panelists. We've had the most incredible representation of panels, representation from Eco VC, from Enigma Ventures, from Josie Angels, from Proparco, from Catalyst Fund, from Dazzle Angels, from Alithia IDF. I can keep going on. So again, thank you so much to all the amazing people that have been part of this journey. Big, wonderful congratulations. Before I do my wrap-up comments, any last words from you, Daniela, about, comments to the jury members, comments around the program so that we can wrap this thing up? Go ahead, Daniela. I think you're on mute. She might be on mute, I think. All right. I think she's struggling. I mean, one thing.
To be quite honest, I think the opportunity. Yes. So, can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah, we can hear you.
Right. I think that there's immense opportunity in the agriculture space, using and leveraging data and technology to really be able to impact. So it's for us we're taking the risk. We're giving you an ecosystem that you can invest in, a de-risked ecosystem. And it's for you guys to tell us, you have the interest to invest. What are you willing to put your money where your mouth is in? Is it in farmers? Is it in smallholder farmers? Is it in Phema Agri? And we believe we're giving you a solution that you can grow with and impact change and really support these smallholder farmers that we're working with. So please give us a chance. And thank you very much to the FMT team for really, really spearheading this and really guiding us throughout the process. We've learned so much and really grown so much from you guys. So please don't stop doing what you're doing. It's amazing. And we really appreciate the time and effort you guys have put into us. So thank you.
Dee, thank you so much. We only couldn't be prouder with you and Donald and the team. We spent a lot of time with Donald as well in the program. We couldn't be more prouder with the efforts, the growth, the business model innovation that you guys have gone through, and the structure and the process. Please send my love to the entire team at Phema Agri. Hopefully they're all tuning in and watching the session. You did incredible well to represent them as a leader, as a CEO. I'm super proud of you. Continue to be strong. There's still a lot of work to be done. We are more than happy with the result that we've seen. And also, equal congratulations to Tabiso and Mtabisi. Tabiso from Moneychaps and Mtabisi from Digital Diamond, who you would have met earlier. Well done to all of you guys. So incredibly proud. I know that the team at Finmark Trust is going to continue to work with you guys, supporting you in your journey in getting these solutions really to begin to start impacting people's lives. With that said, I want to thank everybody and really take the time to reflect on, what's been an amazing past 6 months, 172 days. This is day 172 out of 172. We have a little something here. Again, I must apologize for all of you who are watching this at home, but we couldn't celebrate this moment without at least acknowledging what has been achieved. I want to thank my team at Hyper. I want to thank Dumi and Nicola at Finmark Trust. You guys have been the most incredible collaborators and partners, and we want to continue working with you guys and taking this conversation further. I want to thank the production team that's behind us today, the DPK team. They've been with us on this journey, testing the waters on different things, trialing different things. And here we are today. It's crazy to think that we've just been through a roller coaster of 3 hours, to get through this. I also want to thank our ventures. We've had some challenges. Again, big shout out to the team at Life Plus and William. We continue to be proud of you, William. We continue to hope that you're going to pursue your vision. And again, you heard Dario from Brighter sharing his inputs around where the future of digital technology in client data management is going to go in healthcare. So you're very well on your way, and we'll continue to listen and see how we can support you in your journey. But I actually want to pay special attention to the 3 ventures that have made it through this entire 6-month journey. Congratulations to the teams in Botswana, Digital Diamond, and Moneychaps. Congratulations to the team in Tanzania, Phema Agri. Guys, I stand here at the moment, I've got my family here and my daughters are here with me in the room. I'm incredibly proud of what you've done. You guys are kind of like my other little children as well. So it's been an amazing 6-month journey. I've really kind of grown to appreciate the innovation, the youthful kind of context of this, and the vigor with which you've taken this on. As you know, we have no favorites at Hyber, but we're incredibly impressed with each one of your individual journeys and what you can achieve. And we know that today you've showed up so brilliantly in the presence of these amazing venture capital funders. Some of the most active investors on the continent were live with us here today. So let's continue the conversation. Let's continue to drive impact towards financial inclusion. Let's continue to bring innovation. Again, those of you who didn't know that there's technology innovation going on in Botswana, now you know, okay? There's some dynamic innovations going on in Botswana. So if you're tuning in from Botswana and you've got the ear of someone important in Botswana, let's build that ecosystem. If you're tuning in from Tanzania and you're just blown your mind by just the quality of the young lady that just presented to us earlier on, again, let us know. We'll facilitate these introductions. Speaking of which, if you want to continue the engagement with us, you can go over to sadcinnovation.org. So go to SADC Innovation, SADC Innovation.org. Again, that's where you'll find more information on how you can continue engaging with us. Tag us on social media, hashtag SADC Innovation. We'll pick up the conversation. We'll make sure that whatever message you have, we'll pass on to these dynamic ventures. With that said, I want to really commend and congratulate everybody who's participated in this. I want to thank you, our audience, that have made this particular day really possible. So we know that, we've hit numbers of 200 and 300 views on various platforms throughout this particular session. So congratulations for taking the time to join us here. And again, if you want to find out more about these ventures and actually download their venture deal books, which include the information on how you can reach these founders, please head on over to sadcinnovation.org and then download the venture deal book, or download the Flock app. It's available on iOS and on Android, where you can find all this information in one place in the community. With that said, we still have work to do to finalize some of these promises and commitments. There's a lot of things going on. I'm receiving emails. So again, I'm going to be passing on that information to everybody. It's at the top of our hour. We've had an amazing time. We wouldn't have done this program alone. We have a whole bunch of people that we want to thank. We want to thank DPK as part of our partners. We want to thank Skywalk for our technical support. We also want to thank FMT's partners, Finmark Trust partners, the FSD network and community, especially FSD Zambia, who've been real catalysts in enabling this program to happen. With that said, thank you so much, everybody. We're going to open ourselves up a bit of a bubbly and celebrate the moment. So thank you. And with that said, good night. And thank you to all the people who've been on our platform supporting these ventures throughout the program. We're going to play a video to close out, just acknowledging everybody from Tommy Davis and to our last guest, Wesley Tipoko. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And good night.